Blasphemy Countdown.
Welcome, everyone. The Blasphemy Countdown. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's Midnight Ranting, Creation versus Evolution. On this episode, we're putting the Professor toe-to-toe with Lord SpongeBob. That is to say, Professor Dave versus Ken Hovind in a classic science versus Hawaiian t-shirt brawl. We're a skeptic channel, but at the later half of the show, James and I will open up the floodgates, meaning anyone can come join us and say what's on their mind. We'll also give anyone or everyone the chance to have their own opening and closing statements, atheist, theist, or otherwise. All right. With that being said, creation versus evolution is a false dichotomy. There is creation versus not creation, and evolution versus not evolution. Evolution means that genes randomly mutate and the environment naturally selects them. Like gravity, evolution is a theory or a framework of facts. These facts build a model that allows us to understand the diversity of life. Now, all theories start like hypotheses or educated guesses. We philosophize, socialize, and rant. However, in science, we have to actually, as they say, fuck around and find out. Once we're ready to take our own models into the real world, they must be replicatable. That way, it's not just our own inner musings, but verification of them matching with reality. Which is what happens with theories like evolution time and time again. So if the creationists want to offer their own model that includes or supersedes the current one, and go right ahead. All we ask is that you go out in the field and do the legwork so we can all get on board. Thank you. All right. After James, we'll start watching the debate and we'll finish the show with an open mic. When that happens, look for the link in chat to come join our Midnight Ranting live stream. Oh, yeah. Or send me your questions, comments, or thoughts about the debate to be read on screen by tagging me at Amy Newman. After the show, we'll be heading over to the Discord for some chillin'. Lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that all button icon so you can get live reminders. And if you'd like to support the show, we offer some unique perks with the aim of creating more content at patreon.com/Amy Newman, including awesome Patreons like KO Champ and Oz from the Atheist Roundtable. Okay, so how are you, James? And are you ready for a science versus SpongeBob one-on-one?
I am ready, and I lit a little votive candle here. You probably can't read the words, but it says faith moves mountains. And yeah, I'd like to see faith just move anything in general first, then we'll talk about the mountains. But I guess just nobody ever has enough faith for that, so we'll never actually get to see it happen. So this is one of probably the most epic debates of all time. Anybody who's ever seen this debate, but it gets better and better over time. So you can watch it one time, you can watch it 100 times. It's going to get better every single time because it's just that epic. So yeah, I can't really put too much more about it than that. Tomorrow night, we will be back. Amy decided, I agree with it. We need to do the flat Earth again. We need to come on back. So we will be hitting them again, having some fun at the Flat Earthers' expense. Tonight we'll be having some fun at SpongeBob's expense. And then Saturday, we're not going to be on Saturday. And that's because Amy is going to be on the Atheist Roundtable helping out them mod their amazing debate tournament. Now, you guys, you've seen Oz on here, and he's been with us like we'd only started our podcast for maybe not even a month or about a month when he started coming on. He's just been so supportive and encouraging, and he's just a great guy. It's a great channel, and yeah, no reason not to go over there and watch Amy put her modding skills to the test. She's a little nervous about it, but she'll do a good job. She will do good, and she's on mute.
Yes, I was. Thank you. It wasn't magic. It wasn't prayer. It was the mute button. I was a little apprehensive at first because I like to mime. I like to give big facial expressions, and I was always afraid that I would give myself away. But I think I can also be muted. I could be the muted mime. And so I'm going to try that out, and it's an interesting debate. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say what the debate topic is, but all I can say is that it's an interesting debate, and I think it may be two atheists, so that is an interesting one. And okay, so we're going to bring in the debate. I want to say hello to everyone in chat and our lovely mods.
I think this is a nice little bit of a lighthearted episode, since last episode we got done with God, the creator of the universe, deciding to come down to Earth and kill a bunch of people. He was really upset. He hadn't been able to do that since the flood, and he was just not going to allow Pharaoh to not let him do that. So he kept making sure that Pharaoh would not comply with his demands so that he could come down and kill a bunch of people. But he got that out of his system. Hopefully, it'll be smooth sailing after the Exodus from here.
Yeah, I honestly, I think once we got through, it was a hard story for me, if I'm being honest. But I think once we got through this, I feel like it's all smooth sailing from here.
And now you know God endorses looting. So, while you're leaving, just grab all your neighbors' golden jewelry, any valuables, and run out, right?
Exactly. And okay. Yeah, which is crazy. I can't believe that it actually said that. But okay, let's get to the fun. I'm being told this was a great one, so I'm actually excited.
Did you ever see this one, Amy?
I don't think I have.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
like my true reading of the Bible, I like Professor Dave. I like Ken Hovind. I can't not like a good old tax professor. Good taxes. No. Not my hard-earned tax dollars.
He needed an autopsy after this debate. I think this is one of the last ones he did before Kent disappeared from modern day debate for almost a year, until he just came back on last month with Donald Kronos, Dak. But yeah, before that,
he is. Yeah. And see, Donald says he hasn't seen this one either. So see, we got fresh eyes. It's a good audience. All right. So we're moving into it.
Hey everybody, today we're debating creation.
Oh, and that's my one last thing. A shout out to the awesome, because he makes everything Creative Commons, the great modern day debate. Go check out James, the other James out there.
The other James. The psychologist James.
And we're starting right now.
The Christian James.
That too.
Yeah. He's a reasonable Christian, but he is a Christian.
We're going to get rocking and rolling. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for being here. As mentioned, we will have these 8-minute openings. So, Professor Dave, it's a pleasure to have you here as well. And I've got the timer set. The floor is all yours.
Okay, so sorry, what do I do? Share screen? Did that work?
We almost got it. I think that usually perfect.
Okay, so Are you guys seeing full screen my slides?
We are, and I'm just adjusting the size to make sure it fits just right.
Okay.
Thanks so much. We are good to go.
Got your magic wand, your Yahweh wand. There you go, Amy.
Okay, so just start when I
It
start.
worked, see?
Sure.
Okay, here we go.
You could say it was James, or it could be magic. You never know.
Let's begin by
Probably
saying
magic.
that evolution by natural selection is an observable fact. Expose some bacteria to antibiotics, chance mutations lead to resistant ones, the rest die, and soon they're all descended from the resistant ones. That's evolution by natural selection. Speciation,
That's right,
or the
Jim.
production of new biological species, is also an observable fact. We have observed the emergence of new species of microorganisms, plants, and animals. We know so much about it that we have terminology to describe the different kinds of speciation that can occur. If you understand biochemistry, none of this is surprising at all. DNA undergoes mutation. New genes means the expression of new proteins with the potential for novel functionality and eventually completely different organisms. This happens faster than one might think. Even a single point mutation can produce legs where antennae should be, additional sets of wings, and other remarkable changes. Kent will respond by saying that these are never different kinds of organisms. Well, what is a kind? This word is in the Bible, but it's incredibly vague. We can read about cattle, a creeping kind, and a beast kind. What is
Vaguity in the
What is a
Bible.
beast? Who knows? Science is not
The
vague.
Bible
like this.
being
A species
vague?
is a group of organisms capable
Yeah,
of.
go figure.
So if organisms can produce viable fertile offspring, they're of the same species. So is a kind a species? Well, then the
No.
argument is false. Speciation occurs. There are new kinds. Is a kind some other taxonomic category, like a phylum or something else? Then that's no problem, because new species always belong to the same clade. When eukaryotes first evolved, every descendant thereafter was a eukaryote, no matter what else they became. Animals always produce animals, mammals always produce mammals, and so forth. So if a kind is anything other than a species, this will not contradict evolution in any way whatsoever. Instead of defining the term, Kent will perpetuate the ambiguity of the Bible because he needs to blur its meaning to suit his argument. Now, if speciation happens today, it's logical to extrapolate that it has produced all the species that are already here. If this is the case, there should be some evidence. For example, shouldn't there have been...
Trying to fit the Bible and science?
Well, fortunately, fossils exist.
This
And
doesn't
after
fit.
we found enough of them, we were
Yeah.
able to identify more transitional species than you can shake a stick
Well,
at.
therefore, then the science must be wrong.
Fish to tetrapods, from land mammals to ocean
Ah,
mammals, from
see, it's
dinosaurs to
making
birds,
sense.
and every other transition you can think of. We also see that fossils deeper in the ground, which are older, are less and less similar to currently existing life, which supports slow change over time. This is such strong evidence for evolution that Kent will have to resort to claiming that the geologic column that this is a beast
That's
alive.
triggering Kent
Furthermore,
already.
we
He
can figure out
doesn't
how
like that.
old these things are with radiometric dating, another technique that Kent will
Yeah.
desperately accuse
Another
of being
triggering
valid
point.
without any basis whatsoever. Isotopic decay rates are constant, and measuring their levels reveals their age. We can corroborate these ages by using multiple nuclides, and when we get the same age using uranium dating as with potassium-argon dating, the notion that these coincidentally offer the same result, not
No, well, they're both wrong.
is a statistic.
They're both wrong.
We can also
Both
compare
wrong.
with
Half the
unrelated
right.
methods.
6,000 years. 6,000 years.
Documented historical events. Radiometric dating works, period. Then with biogeography, we predict the locations of fossils based on the configuration of prehistoric
Had to
land masses.
say,
And
shrink
guess what?
Africa 40% to make them fit together.
You can't get more empirical than, I bet I'll find this thing here, and then you look and you do.
And yeah, this reminds me of like an Erica debate. Both Professor Dave and
Yeah.
Erica have good use of slideshows, and I can't help appreciate a
And-
good slideshow. It's
And they're very good at taking the concepts that are complicated, breaking them down into bite-sized pieces to make them understandable for almost anybody.
and you know what's funny about that, James? Taking complex and making them simple. That's design.
Now, Kent will
Well,
say
there
that
you
none
go.
of this is proof of anything. Well, proof is exclusively for mathematics and logic, so anyone who asks for proof in science has no idea how science works. In science, we only say that something's consistent beyond reasonable doubt. For example, a very old Earth is consistent beyond reasonable doubt, as is agreed upon by literally all
Some guy.
geologists, the people who study the Earth for a living. So when someone uneducated like Kent says anything to the contrary, it is totally baseless and can only be traced back to one piece of supposed evidence. Some book says a thing. Similarly, all biologists agree that evolution by natural selection is consistent beyond reasonable doubt. But
The
Kent
book says a thing. There you go.
says a thing. Kent
book
also
says the
strangely
thing.
proposes that many unrelated fields are somehow part of evolution. Most people would refuse to discuss these subjects in a debate on evolution. However, I'm very interested in demonstrating that Kent has no idea what he is talking about in virtually any academic field. So I'm going to permit the discussion of these topics, and I hope very much that he wishes to discuss them. In fact,
It's not a very pretty one. It's
he
a
wants to know about what he
ugly
calls
red
cosmic
one, but
evolution,
it'll have to do.
which is the origin
Hey.
of time, space, and matter in a huge explosion. The Big Bang was actually the origin of space-time and energy, not matter, and it wasn't an explosion. Uneducated people like Kent imagine the Big Bang as fully formed planets and galaxies tumbling out of a kablooey graphic. This would indeed be quite absurd. In actuality, the model describes the universe arising from an initial singularity and then progressing through a series of epochs that require a lot of knowledge in particle physics to understand. Atoms took 380,000 years to form,
The
and
dirt.
stars and galaxies took
The
100.
dirt. Where'd the dirt come from?
Overwhelming evidence to support all
Dirt
of
was in a dot, and
Possession velocity
dots swirled around.
expansion of the universe. 2, the cosmic microwave background radiation, a remnant of the recombination event predicted.
I don't see any dirt.
And confirmed observation. 3, the ratio of hydrogen to helium that is predicted by the model and confirmed by observation. 4,
Thank you,
particles
Jeff.
from early epochs.
Amy loves them even more than you guys do.
Astronomers unanimously agree that this model is consistent beyond reasonable doubt. So when Kent begs to differ, once again, he can only respond with, some book says a
I do want to say that we also have a special guest. If you can see in the background, Charles Darwin himself is actually hanging out on those pillows. So we have a
I
special
thought that was a
guest
Titan
host.
Uranus figure, action figure.
Woohoo! We have to also make those.
thing.
Need a Kent
Next,
Hovind
Kent
action
wants to know
figure.
about heat and no
At
one
some
else.
point,
Also
definitely.
chemical evolution. He wants to know where all the elements come from. They're made in stars, Kent. This is immaculately well understood. The process is called stellar nucleosynthesis. It's really hot in those stars, so all those nuclei are whizzing around, and sometimes
Where'd all the elements come from?
photons gives us helium, 4 is beryllium, 6 is carbon, 8 is oxygen, and so forth.
Only do up to iron.
Inside a star. Heavier than iron requires high energy events like supernovae, and the very heaviest are synthetic, produced only in particle accelerators. There is all the elements, no problem. Next, Kent wants to know about the evolution of stars and planets. Again, no mystery here. Hydrogen collected by gravity to form stars. Stars fuse all the elements.
Gravity does not work on gases, therefore star formation does not work. It'd have to be God pull the individual atom together because gravity do not work on gas.
You beat me to it. Exactly.
Explode, all that.
Our lovable Brazilian
now,
friend
with all those
Otangelo.
other elements, there will be a
We love you,
protoplanetary disk from which
Otangelo.
We love him.
This is exceptionally well understood, and we can see nebulae and protostars all over the galaxy. There is zero controversy about any of this in the astrophysics community. So if Kent has an objection, it would no doubt be based on the fact that some book says a thing. Lastly, Kent wants to know about how life came about on Earth. This is called abiogenesis, and plenty of work has been done here. In the 50s, it was shown that amino acids form spontaneously in early Earth conditions, and the same has been shown.
Just amino acids.
Ribonucleotides polymerize on hot clay.
You need a lot more.
We've observed ribozymes, which have catalytic function and thus offer an early mode of self-replication. Amino acids must also polymerize to form proteins, and there are several viable hypotheses as to how this happened. If Kent is interested in discussing organometallic catalysis, I would be happy to.
I'm sure he is.
Finally,
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Spontaneously self-assemble into ordered structures like micelles and bilayers, making boundary formation the least mysterious aspect of abiogenesis. Only with knowledge in biochemistry is abiogenesis.
Some book says a
It's
thing.
not surprising that Kent rejects it
So
because
all of astrophysicists, they're all wrong
the
because a
only
book says
evidence
something.
Kent can ever cite is some book, which is allegedly written by an omniscient deity, but doesn't bother mentioning anything scientific anywhere. Why doesn't it reference bacteria or DNA or the laws of physics? That would be quite something, and also trivial for the God that created the universe. And yet nothing intelligent is in this book at all.
Electricity.
In actuality, the book was written by ancient, ignorant, immoral men, and it's not evidence of anything whatsoever. I look forward to
He
demonstrating.
said immoral. But how can he say that if there's no God to
Thank
base
you
morality off
very
of?
much from Professor Dave. That was his opening
right.
statement. If you're
That was a
checking.
very good introduction, but it's all going to go downhill from here, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, what do you think of his Professor Dave introduction? I guess we kind of summed that up. I think it was
Yeah.
pretty good.
It was good. Yeah. It's
Uh,
yeah.
It's
I like it
always
because
interesting.
he's making jabs at Hovind. He's not just presenting his case. He's kind of knocking him off base, kind of jabbing at him with the book says a thing, trying to trigger him. And I think it's going to be pretty effective.
Yeah, which I think is good. So I think sometimes you gotta pull some, but they're gonna pull punches. You gotta pull punches,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I will say, give me 1 second.
Looking for evidence
We
of God?
also, I actually, it's what John Maddox was always looking for right here. It's Mr. Gene. It's Mr. Gene.
Are those
It's the double
chromosomes?
helix. It's chromosomes. It's Mr.
okay.
Chromosome.
Mr.
I know. I
Chromosome.
can't help myself. Once again,
More
I heard
props?
genes. More props. All right.
Oh, we need a little John Maddox doll.
To Kent Hovind, who will be giving
Little
his
PP.
opening statement. And that will also be 8 minutes. We're just going to switch the boxes. The old switcheroo happened. So, Kent, I have the...
You want to do a drinking game, Amy? What's the word you think Kent's gonna...
The floor is all yours.
You think the most? Oh, that's how. Let's say religion and skulls.
Well, thank you for having me again. Dave, I want to say I have just heard of you today, and I did get to watch a few minutes of one of your videos you did, and I very much appreciate your style of trying to keep things simple. That is commendable.
See, now it's
Your
bigger.
goal,
Just
your
got to hold it
videos are
closer to the
excellent.
screen.
You sound very angry at
It's
some book.
Bibble. We added a letter.
I suspect I know why.
Exactly.
According to Second
Oh,
Peter
why,
3,
Kent?
I think we should put your name in there. But anyway, I'm shocked that you would give some of the so-called evidences that you gave that have been proven wrong some well over a century ago that you're still clinging to. You said in the video that I saw that there is a mountain of evidence for evolution. I would like to see that. You said there's evidence for
No, you wouldn't.
homology, similar structure. Do you not comprehend that this is evidence of a common designer? There's a lot of commonality between Chevy pickups and Chevy cars. I mean, the lug nuts will interchange. It doesn't prove they're all coming from...
Still have to establish a designer.
And I really was saddened to see that you are still teaching there's evidence for evolution from homology about the vertebrate embryos looking the same. Dave, this was proven wrong in 1874.
No, not really.
Children's faith using something proven wrong 140 years ago.
Some guy fudged some drawings. It doesn't mean the whole thing is proven wrong.
Also, very subtle, but the arguments about destroying faith. Notice that really it's not even really about a science battle. It's that your model is destroying our faith somehow.
Right.
And
Well,
so
if you go back in time, before evolution, before science, everybody had the faith. They all believed in the Bible.
no bibble.
They all believed it.
And hey, you're gonna be able to come on. Come on, who? I don't know, but someone. Okay, somewhere.
Better be inside, or otherwise, your God might not. You wouldn't like that.
Exactly, which is still a crazy passage, but okay.
This is certainly wrong to teach this. The embryos do not look similar. They are vastly different. Those are not gill slits. I'm disappointed that someone with...
And yes, he has. But the funny thing about people like him are people don't seem to tip as much when you learn more or accept, or I say tip, I should just say donate or give your money when you accept new evidence or change your beliefs or...
So here he's talking about the gill slits that they don't have to do with breathing. That just means that evolution has taken a structure that evolved into gills in fish and it makes it into something else in mammals. No, it's not gill slits. It's the same thing. It's similar to the human reproductive organs. They all start off the same, and then the body takes that same stuff and just does it a little different way to create certain structures. Amy will tell you all about it.
Yes. Lots of certain structures.
Praise God.
Praise Jeebus. And I'm going to make a prediction, which is a pet peeve of mine. It's really the only thing I would like to get through Kent's head, but he probably knows it, and so it may not. A dog is never going to pop out a dolphin, and a dolphin is never going to pop out a dog. That is not
He knows
how.
it.
Exactly. That's not how evolution works. There's no, I'm going to say biologist because there's no such thing as an evolutionist. There's no biologist that would say that is how evolution works. It's a nested hierarchy, and you're always going to have the animals that what is it, supersede the last one, and a dog is always going to give birth to dogs. The adult or the parents are going to look similar to their children, but there is a 0.000000001 point change in genetics, and
Doesn't look
that
that big initially.
exactly. But that little change in the combination of genes, because our genes are not degrading. That's another thing that they like to talk about, but it's in the new genetic entropy. In the new combination of genes, you get this great new combo, and it's also just a little bit different, a little bit more mutated. So fantastic.
Because no offspring is an exact copy of either of their parents. And that's really all. That's really, at the end of the day, it can be that simple. They're not an exact copy. That's really all you need, that and time, and you'll get evolution.
Yeah. You just and they really have no conception of time. That's another most annoying thing, is their blinders are like 100 years. Even though their religion really relies on those blinders being off in that 100 years, they're like, no, I can't see it. It doesn't exist. And it's like
him saying star formation has never been observed.
Yeah, because
when you can't see
well
it in
documented.
The day. Yeah.
Also, ooh, hello, Spooky.
Now, someone in another channel made the mistake of saying smoky bed hair, and that was quite
bed hair.
Smoky bed hair. I felt bad for poor Spooky at that.
That's okay. And I hope you have a nice time falling asleep, Spooky. And Jim, I agree with you. Dolphins are awesome. I would basically want a dolphin like the same way you have a dog. But I think it doesn't work that way.
May even be more advanced than ours in some ways. They may not to
go too much on my rant, consciousness rant, but they fit the whole model just like mine. They're conscious, they're sentient, and they're introspective. They may be thinking about thinking and things.
Yeah,
maybe having
it's just evolution didn't give them hands to be able to build things.
Exactly.
It gave them flippers because they work really well underwater, but you can't make anything.
Why didn't you give them hands? Well, because underwater they're extremely streamlined. Yeah. Not only are they extremely streamlined, but we can tell that they're not fish. We can tell that they're mammals because of their spinal cords that go up and down, unlike a fish spinal cord that propels back, right and left.
That and the fact they don't have gills, they breathe air. They
don't have gills.
They give live birth. They
give live birth.
They feed milk to their young. Oh, well, no problem. God just made a subcategory of fish, but he decided to give them these mammalian features. He just felt like doing it that way.
Yeah, he just thought it was just easier.
That'd be cool.
And I will say, as much as the atheists will rib on religion, probably in a lot of this episode, really evolution has nothing to do with religion, and disproving or continuing the proof of evolution will not disprove or prove a god. But hello, battles anyway.
Your knowledge level would still be using something proven wrong 140 years, 145 years ago. Okay, you need to stop using that. This is criminal behavior, in my opinion, to teach children something that is just a lie that's going to turn them away from their faith in the obvious that there was a creator. You're still saying there are vestigial.
Once again, he is saying the quiet thing out loud. You're supposed to be telling us why this is science and not religion. I mean, I give him credit for, I guess, his honesty. You know, it's almost so honest that it's like, dude,
He's
it's
honest
science.
about that,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yes, well, about that. Buy my DVD. Buy my DVD.
Structure. What on earth would a vestigial structure? How could there be any evidence for evolution? That's an example of losing something, not gaining something. You lose everything, and that's how you get it all? I don't understand. I'd like you to elucidate on that, as you mentioned, okay? Then you said that snakes have pelvic bones. You've got to be kidding. I'll cover all these if you'd like in great detail, and I may have to add you to my list.
They also don't have vocal cords.
Long list of whack an atheist.
Oddly enough.
I was gonna ask, what the hell is the list? That doesn't sound odd at all. We just have a list of atheists. Okay.
You're on the list, Amy.
On the list.
An honor to whack you with a little bit of science and knowledge. And we use SpongeBob, and I'll put your name on there and try to put science and knowledge in there and whack you back into common sense. No, none of these are evidence for evolution. The title of the
That's
debate
your goal in life, Amy.
I
Beyond
saw it.
SpongeBob, yeah.
You refer to the Bible claims that God created the heaven and the earth. That's what it claims. You claim that a singularity, whatever that is, produced everything in the Big Bang.
See, the funny thing is he uses props, but he's not supposed to be a comic. So you guys figure that out.
That's ludicrous.
I'm okay. Come to my level, Kent.
Space or time or matter or energy came from. Where did the laws come from? Like the law of gravity, centrifugal force, these various laws.
Law on income taxes. Where'd that come from?
The Bible claims clearly that Jesus Christ is the Word of God, and He created everything.
Structuring.
John chapter 1.
Structuring. Stupid
Jesus
law.
created everything. That's what He claims.
Money laundering.
God Almighty in the flesh. And you will stand before Him one day, Dave, as your judge, whether you like that or not.
You're going to stand before him, Amy.
Stand before him and say, praise the flying spaghetti monster. So Donald says loss is a change. Evolution is the accumulation of change. Therefore, even the accumulation of loss is an example of evolution. Yeah. Exactly. That is the one thing they don't understand about mutations is they can be positive, negative, or benign. That we have a lot of mutations that it's just like, oh, web feet. But I don't really swim, so I don't have one. But just in that example, yeah.
Also, like now we're in a state where most of the organisms we see are very well suited for their environment because they've been evolving for millions of years. So
millions of years.
We don't really see these changes coming as novel as they used to be.
I agree with Robert. And yes, exactly. They have no also conception. I think I said this already, but they really don't want to understand millions or billions of years. Like when we say the Cambrian explosion was short, we mean short in the millions of years, not like short as in like it was 100 years. Uh-oh. It's on the side. I'm learning. I'm learning from the master, truly, in great prop work. I should get my hammer. I'm gonna get my hammer. That's great. Be like Thor. Okay.
Soon,
praise God.
Jesus claimed
praise
that the creation of Adam was the beginning when he made Adam and Eve, Matthew 19:4 and Mark 10:6. And the Bible clearly claims in the Ten Commandments, in 6 days, the Lord made heaven and earth. Well, that would really very simply explain all the symbiotic relationships that we see. Plants give off oxygen, take in CO2. Animals take in oxygen, give off CO2. They reciprocate the gases.
That means it had to happen in 6 days, I guess.
Relationships in nature, certain plants require certain animals. I think that defies an evolutionary explanation. But
no,
God said
not really.
6 days. Now, you can choose to deny that, as I'm sure you've chosen to
we do.
believe that it didn't happen that way, but you cannot possibly know
what the evidence says.
So Jesus said the creation was when God made Adam and Eve, and the Bible says clearly
and Jesus was wrong.
Brought death into the world. Romans chapter 5, 1 Corinthians 15. Man introduced, the reason the world has problems today in death and suffering at all levels is because of man's sin. Yet your religion teaches that death brought man into the world. Billions and trillions of things had to die for man to get here. exact opposite of what the Bible teaches. Just so you understand, you're welcome to have that religion, but it is indeed a religion, and it is indeed completely contrary to the Bible. Did man
Ding,
bring
ding,
death to
ding.
the
That's
world, or
my
did death
drink.
bring man? So Jesus said the
So
creation
whatever.
of Adam was the beginning. Of course, you're
I need
calling
a
it
drink.
Jesus
my
is
water.
wrong.
the Bible says nothing died.
Also, it's fantastic. You know how we just so happen to want a Kent doll? Well, I happen to have a hammer.
You do have a
and
hammer.
it's a replica. It looks just like him.
Absurdity. Yeah.
There we go. Woo-hoo.
Until man sinned, and you're calling the Bible a liar. And the Bible says Adam was the
Are
first.
you calling the Bible a liar, Amy?
Eve was the mother of all
You're
living.
saying the Bible is a
We all
lie?
came from Adam
Yeah.
and Eve. I think you could trace that back scientifically to mitochondrial
So,
Eve.
you
And
tell me it's a lie?
if you'd like. But the dates in the Bible add up to about, it says Adam was 130 and Seth was 105 and Enos was 90. If you add up the dates in the Bible, you're going to get what
Here
everybody
you
else
go,
gets.
Amy.
The earth was created about 4,000 BC. or
Science.
4,000 years
This
ago.
is science. You add up the dates in the Bible.
And I
Modern
believe
science.
that because you need billions of years for your frog to turn to a prince. You see, Dave, when a frog turns to a prince,
Yeah, and once again, this whole genealogy, numerology, whatever ology-ist or thing that they want to put on it to sound technical, not science.
Not science. Yeah.
by
You're going to need to come with a little more than that.
But replacing the kiss with billions of years is still not going to turn the frog to a prince. It is still a fairy tale, Dave, that you are teaching and believing and teaching to others. The Bible dates out up to
Like Dan Aykroyd.
all the evidence that we see, and the purpose of the debate is what does the evidence show? Evidence shows that one single cell, is more complicated than a space shuttle. Darwin thought a cell was
Okay.
a blob of jelly, not much to it. Now we know it's one cell, more complicated than the most complex machine ever built by man. All the evidence shows that design demands a designer at every level. At every level, design demands a designer. Evidence shows that information does not arise by random chance. It just doesn't happen. So,
Sure, it could.
the 1402. I won't have time to cover all this, so I'll add this when I do the Whack and Atheist here. Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Not enough time. Sorry.
1402. What's happening here, Steve? It's not working. Steve.
Ben.
I've got it
David,
on this one.
that's kinky. I hope that's his
Oh, there it goes. Okay.
male
That's
slave's
his tech
name.
guy.
Dave, I was
The
on
guy
I
who screwed
know.
up the thing with Donald. Yeah.
might have
I
died.
emailed Kent.
So,
Or
in case
what
you
did you do? What was his
Not a big
just
deal.
say his name was? Steve? I emailed Steve. Steve, if you see this, I emailed you. Email me back. Oh, I want to debate good old Hawaiian t-shirt. Good old. Yeah.
Dr. SpongeBob.
Dr.
Okay.
SpongeBob.
Are we on?
There it is.
He can smack me around.
Are you pausing the time here, John or James?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. Okay. In the movie Tom Hanks, The Green Mile, it was a fact. There was evidence.
He's really using this to try and
Right.
prove creation.
A
A
massive
movie.
manhunt was organized. It is a fact, in the movie at least, John Coffey is found holding the two dead girls. That's a fact. The evidence showed clearly they're missing. When they're found, he's holding the two dead girls. It's a fact. He was arrested and executed for the crime, in the movie at least. So that's a fact. That the evidence showed that he did it. It was also a fact that he didn't do it. It's a fact that this guy did it in the movie. So I think what you're looking at.
Yeah,
is
because in the movie, you can make anything happen.
similarity.
You can have
Assuming
a time traveler from the past can come in the future, and you can do whatever you want in a movie, Kent. It's
And I agree with Jim. Just Kent's type of, Kent, still debate me, but let's just say there's ways to attack ideas, and then there are certain people that attack people. And let's just say I wish more people would attack people. But both sides do that, so
a little, to a certain extent.
to a certain extent. But I get the feeling that in this debate specifically, one may be more sided than the other. Hello,
Jamie.
Jamie. Woohoo!
Jamie was just watching a T-jump debate on
people did in the movie here with
Standing for Truth.
You're executing
Oh,
your own
really?
guy. You're claiming this
Yeah.
book right here, which you obviously have quite a
It
hatred
was
for.
a bloodbath.
This book has errors in it. I'd like to see some of those errors. You're claiming it's not a science book. It has absolutely no science in it whatsoever.
Actually, he doesn't want to see the errors because he'll say we're not here to debate that.
It says in this book that all the animals will bring forth after their kind. Cows produce cows, dogs produce dogs. That's a fact, Dave. This book says they'll always bring forth after their kind.
Duke,
Please show
if
me.
you're asking me, I'm ex-Jewish. I think I'm like a community of one apparently, but I have big community of Jehovah's Witnesses and ex-Mormons and ex-Christians and
Ex-theists.
ex-Muslims. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, the larger ex-theist community,
It's a
but I
nested
like
hierarchy.
supporting exactly.
The animal has ever brought forth something other than its kind. And no fossils could possibly count. I can't believe you listed as evidence fossils. As you know well, fossils don't count as
Yeah,
anything.
this is a dumb argument.
Bones in the dirt do not indicate something changed. Why does no animal today have the ability to change to something else? But you think a bone in the dirt could do it.
They all change.
Not science, son. Bones can't talk.
Not
They don't have
science.
a date stamped on them. We're putting our interpretation on them. No plant or animal today can produce anything other than its kind. And if you object to the
They
word
do the
kind,
same thing the bones in the dirt did.
Hard to define exactly. I covered that the other night on my Bible study here. Whack an atheist. What exactly is a species?
Bible study.
If you look up species, it'll give one of the definitions of species as kind. I think in 99% of the cases, it's obvious what a same kind is. Okay, I think my time is up. Anyway, love your style, love your goal. You're completely wrong.
And that's a guy. He's respectful. And that's good. I'm glad he's back. And okay, Dolphin coming in from Donald. Dolphins are as streamlined as they are, largely due to the accumulation of loss of features that made their ancestors less streamlined. Kent seems to think that's not evolution. Yeah, I mean, dolphins are the expression I like to use for evolution, because it characterizes it well, is grinded down. The environment grinded down dolphins to the best that they could be to survive in their environment. They're pretty awesome at surviving the environment too.
They look very similar to fish in a lot of ways because they live in the same environment, but they're still not fish.
Woohoo! That's right. We need dolphins. They're turning the dolphins gay. Wait, the dolphins were gay. Wait,
No. The Miami Dolphins,
the Miami Dolphins.
Dave,
which is my football team, by the way. Go Dolphins.
Okay, ready to discuss?
For whatever reason, I've always thought the Miami Dolphins logo has been pretty. I don't know why. Just that's a very random thing because I'm an Eagles fan. I have to be. I'm from Philly, so I have to be. But yeah.
You betcha.
James?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, so apart from the same ridiculous pageantry that you offer in every debate where you talk about frogs turning into princes and cars assembling from tornadoes, all of which have nothing to do with evolution whatsoever, but you use to trick simple-minded people into believing your lies, most of what you talked about in your 8 minutes was based on the Bible, not science. So you talked a lot about the Bible. So let's go to the Bible first. Number one.
He doesn't want to go to the Bible. He tries to weasels out of that quick.
There's nothing wrong in the Bible or something like that. Is that what you're saying?
I've read it for 51 years.
Huh?
I've read it for 51 years now. I'm unaware of any scientific errors in that book. Do you know of a specific scientific error?
I have some passages I'd like to share with you.
Well, first of all, is
He's squirming there. He's squirming.
Show that the Bible is wrong? You're supposed to be presenting evidence that evolution is true.
But the Bible is your only. The Bible is your only piece of evidence for creationism. So I'm going to show you that it's not evidence for it.
Dave,
you just said that the Bible
I have 2 eyes, 2 ears, and a mind. I can see animals produce after kind. Cows produce.
What is a kind, Kent? What is a kind?
You're missing the point. Do you?
No, I'm not missing the point. You define the word. What is a kind?
Well, originally it was those that could originally reproduce, and they might have diversified now, where we have Alaska.
Okay, so you mean species to bring forth from their kind? Do you mean species?
It doesn't use the word species. That's Carolus Linnaeus's term, I believe. I don't know if he made up the word species, but
you're talking about bringing forth. So a species is organisms that can produce viable, fertile offspring. So is that what you mean by kind?
Okay. If a man or a woman today is sterile and cannot produce children at all, are they still?
No, but Homo sapiens in general. Homo sapiens in general.
John, Dave, they can't reproduce. They're no longer human.
Okay, so it's not a species. You're saying a kind is not a species?
I think the word kind and species probably are synonymous at many levels, but I wouldn't restrict it to that.
You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
It's synonymous when it works. When it doesn't work,
species,
it's
then
not.
you're saying that they're not new species,
Whatever.
and you're wrong because speciation occurs. If
Whatever,
you're
we
saying
need to make it work.
anything other than a species, then that
Gotta
statement
square
does
that
not
circle.
contradict evolution whatsoever, because every time new organisms come forth, they are part of that kind, which is a clade. You're talking about anything else. You're talking about mammals, talking about eukaryotes, whatever it is that you're talking about.
And I'm showing some comments on stage, but if you have comments or thoughts you want read out loud, don't forget to tag me at Amy Newman.
About evolution does not require for new kinds to occur. They will always be within that kind. So you're either wrong or you're not contradicting evolution. Which one is it?
Right. James, I would request to kind of keep track of the time. It looks like he's trying to monopolize all of the time. I would like half the time, please. So if you can please moderate as you're supposed to. Okay.
Oh,
Aw,
cute. Oh, already. I should turn this upside down. Already the crying begins.
Dave, would you please tell me what is the best example?
I need to preach. He's got to preach his thing, you know.
Producing something other than the same species. What is
Do you
the
know
best
what
example of a new
polyploidy
species?
is?
Yeah, preachers, you know the one thing preachers aren't used to? Sharing the stage. That is something that
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
all
like
of
in his
them, not all
seminar.
of them, but the T-evangelists, the ones with big pockets, let's just say, definitely seem not used to sharing attention.
Do you know what polyploidy is?
I do.
What is it?
Polyploidy is a doubling of the chromosome number. It doesn't add any new information at all. It's the same
okay.
information. It's the
Does
same
it produce a new
information
species?
doubled.
Does it
So
produce a new
if I take a
species?
videotape, if I copy a videotape and I go, oh wow, I got two videotapes, they're identical. It's the same information, Dave. Polyploidy is
Then
not
why is the organism not able to interbreed with the parent organisms? It's a
because
new
it's
species.
detrimental.
James says, "Here comes the train wreck. It's right around the corner. Choo choo."
Polyploidy produces new species.
Polyploidy produces things that usually are infertile and cannot reproduce at all.
That's not true at all.
It's oddly satisfying hearing him say, "What was it, polyploid?" I don't know what it was. It's oddly satisfying hearing Kent say that.
That's not true at all. So many plants that you eat. Kent, stop. When you say something wrong, I'm going to correct you. I'm not interrupting you. When you say something wrong, I'm going to correct you. What you just said is demonstrably wrong. Many of the plants that you eat are tetraploid, hexaploid, octaploid. Many plants have evolved through polyploidy. And that is an example of instant speciation.
Let's give Kent a chance to respond now.
And when you are wrong, I'm going to correct you, Dave. This book is the book that God preserved for us to read. You're going to be judged by this book. So
well, we didn't get a chance to talk about the Bible because I had some passages I wanted to share with you.
Sure. Never mind. No Bible.
Polyploidy, hexaploidy, any of those, all they are,
hi,
as I think I
Peter.
pointed out early and already answered the question, it is a doubling or tripling or quadrupling of existing information. Is there new information added with polyploidy? I mean, new information.
Yes, there is if two polyploid gametes fertilize one another.
What is the new information that's added?
The information from two gametes. The information from two gametes. Do you not know how meiosis works, Kent? Do you not know how meiosis works?
Meiosis. Well, I'll just say one thing now. Polyploidy. Can you?
I know.
There that are running from predators. Rabbits have been running from predators for a long time. Why haven't any of them evolved?
One of his best hits.
I think that would help.
Play that back, Amy.
That's not how evolution works.
Evolution doesn't work at all. Okay, there is no evolution.
No,
Did you want me to, or are you just saying that?
Did you hear it where he said about the rabbits? That's one of his biggest hits.
Why haven't any of them evolved wings? Don't you think that would help?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
You got to hear that.
Gigantic straw man. Yeah, that just cruised right through because they don't need them. This is the why doesn't everything go to the moon? Freaking apologetic. I really don't know what to call it. Everything doesn't need to be amazing book writers. Turtles just need to not die, and have a strong shell because they are their shell. They have that just to survive. Bacteria don't care about big brains. They just want to replicate. And they have very sophisticated ways of replicating in the modern 21st century world, just like us. They're not writing Shakespeare. They don't want to write Shakespeare.
They don't care about that. But no, evolution
don't care
is
about that.
It doesn't, just because you think something is cool doesn't mean that's the path evolution would have to take. Evolution is in part a random process, so it kind of just happens how it happens. If an organism evolves wings, it evolves wings. It just has to survive. There's different ways to survive, and evolution figured out the best way to do that with rabbits is to make them run fast and have lots of babies really, really quick. Don't need wings.
I just want to say, I thought that she said I was going to time you out because you made me shit sing or some. I don't even know. That was funny anyway. What was we have from we have from Donald, the loss of legs in this is the dolphin subgroup or hierarchy group. Cetacean ancestors of dolphins, whales, and porpoises, exactly, and other modern cetaceans was also a gain in streamlining. Any changes adding up constitute evolution. Okay, yeah.
You have to lose everything to gain everything, Donald. Yeah.
Lose everything to gain everything. And once again, dolphins, whales, because of their size, they actually glide through water. And so they're having a great time being large and in charge with their big brains in the ocean.
Oh, Kent will tell you all about the whale's penises later on, maybe.
Oh, baby. Don't get me too excited. All right.
That's not how evolution works.
Evolution doesn't
That's one
work
of his
at
big
all.
hits.
There's no evolution.
No, you can't just say evolution didn't do this or didn't do that. Evolution is random mutation by chance that is then selected for by natural selection. You can't say that evolution didn't do this one thing that I think it should do. Nature is blind. That is not a valid argument.
Would you please give the audience an example of something that has been a mutation that has added new information? Not doubling existing information like plotting.
What do you mean by new information? Every single mutation is new information. It's a change in a base pair. That's new information. Every mutation is new information.
Whoa. I'm going to quote you on that one. Every mutation is new information.
Go ahead. Quote it.
There's a T, or instead of an A, there's a C. How is that not new information?
So if we make a typographical error in typing a book, that is going to create a new thing.
DNA is not a book, Ken. See, this is what you do.
Hold on one second. I mean, like if he wants to do an analogy, like it's, I think it's like fair game.
But his analogies are always
like, yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm totally okay. Like if he has a moment to explain the analogy, and then we'll definitely come right back to you. If you have
the analogy, and then I'll tell you why it's stupid.
Okay, I asked you, what is the best example you know of an animal that created a new species?
My Bucks County's coming out.
What would you give me?
Yeah, and I use polyploidy because it's undeniable because it happened instantly in one generation, as opposed to speciation.
Give me a specific. What is a specific plant or?
So Peter says, notice the times Dave asks a question and Kent deflects because he doesn't have an answer. Yes, over and over again.
Like the Bible. He doesn't want to talk about the Bible. He'll use it when he thinks it benefits him, but as soon as you challenge it, he runs away from that.
And it's not like he has a model of creation. Notice that this isn't going to be...
Well, you have a model
of creation of evolution debate. This is a evolution versus not evolution debate, which is what all creation debates are. They're never
you have a model. Where's your thing, Amy?
I got a model right here. Here we go. You're right
there you go. That's their model. That's the model, baby. Magic.
Here we go. And you know why? It says it right here. I got a book. Like I should hold upside down more. Right there.
More blasphemy.
More blasphemy. And okay, we got one more comment. Donald says to James, "Ooh, excuse me.
The
The
mutations are random.
process of
Donald. That's
evolution
what I
is not
meant.
random. The path that it takes may be at most as random as the changes that go into it.
The
Selective
mutations,
survival
not the whole
changes
thing.
reduce random. Yeah, the mutations are random.
Guided by
I mean,
natural
it could just
selection.
you could just be going back with the swimming and all this. You could be on the beach and just get a mutation, right? And then there. I'm not just okay. So
Animal that with polyploidy has added new information that made it into a
Most
different
of the
species.
plants that there's tons of plants that you eat, like bananas and stuff like that.
Okay, so bananas are an example of evolution.
Strawberries are octoploid, huh?
Okay, so a strawberry that became octoploidy, it 8 times the volume. All they end up is those giant strawberries that taste terrible. Is it still a strawberry, Dave?
What do you mean that tastes terrible? All strawberries. We're talking about all strawberries. What do you mean that tastes terrible? What are you talking about?
Well, I've seen the giant strawberries they produce with octoploidy, and they're hollow.
He doesn't know that all strawberries are.
Strawberries are octoploid. Strawberries,
Okay.
not the special whatever you're talking about. No idea what
It's still a strawberry.
But it, Kent, this is
a simple yes or no, Dave. Is it still a strawberry?
What are you talking about? We're talking about
You got a strawberry and turned it into a strawberry.
Praise
Kent,
God.
praise Jesus. Once again, if you're having trouble understanding what Kent's saying, and I was, once again, I think my prediction just came true. Why isn't the dolphin giving birth to the dog? Why isn't the dog giving birth to the dolphin?
A strawberry is still a strawberry.
And it always will be. That's how evolution works, Kent. So Jim says, where is the theist versus theist channel? We need a systematic process for weeding out Kent's. Yeah, let me tell you, that would be good. Darth has his he has his channel called Atheist Helpline. So
who's that?
So not quite that.
Who's that guy who debated Michael Shermer? That really liberal Christian, Michael Jones.
Really?
Something philosophy.
Should watch that. Inspiring philosophy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very liberal. You know.
I think I do remember
any claim that the religion makes that can be tested, they back away from, and they only defend the claims that are untestable, so you can never prove them wrong.
And Jim also says, we have a banana sighting. Protect your bananas from Ray.
And from
good old
TJ.
Banana Man. Oh, it's banana. I can't have a Banana Man. No, I went from British. Takes me a little bit. I should develop a Ray Comfort.
You need a banana there at all times, Amy.
Need a banana at all times. I do, but that's a different drawer. And okay.
Oh, okay.
We
can talk about speciation. Did you not see that list I provided?
I want a simple answer. Your answer was strawberries are a great example of octoploidy. There's no new information. It's still a strawberry.
How is it not new information?
Always gonna be, Kent.
How?
And a strawberry, for what it's worth, as delicious as they are, is a reproductive organ. What do you want the strawberry to become, Kent?
Okay. See,
a dog? Aardvark? An anteater?
That you are
because it's worse than that. He's not even asking for a dog to become a dolphin. He's basically asking for when is a vajayjay or a dick gonna turn into a dolphin. So it's even worse than that. Like, really?
Yeah, a pine cone turned into a hamster.
Turn into a prince, and a car doesn't make itself from a tornado. These things are not valid analogies. You're saying that a tornado doesn't make a car. What the hell does that have to do with evolution? It's a man-made object. Your argument is basically there is a thing that is designed, therefore everything is designed. Okay, well
that's the watchmaker argument.
So everything
the watch is designed, therefore everything is designed.
It does not follow from the premise. It's not a valid argument. But you say these things to simple-minded people to trick them. I'm not simple-minded, so why are you telling them to me?
Oh, snap.
I think you are much more simple-minded than you realize. Let me show you the picture here.
Oh, really?
Shots fired, back and forth.
Textbook beside me, that a human and a bird have a common ancestor, which was an amphibian. Let's see. Let me find a family tree that they show. here, because I mentioned about the frog and the prince, okay? They have these textbooks with these charts all the time showing all these animals going back to a common ancestor. Do you believe you have a common ancestor with a strawberry, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, you're welcome to believe that. That's not science. That's a religion.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is science.
It is science.
Yeah.
Yes, and once again, more specifically, we share a common ancestor with the entire plant, not just the reproductive organ. But you don't understand. I don't want to strongman him too much, but let's just say in this debate so far, you have displayed not a lack of information and knowledge of biology and evolution. But come correct me, wrong, Kent.
He thinks that the plant was made by God just to feed people. So he's only thinking about the fruit aspect. He doesn't think that it's an organism evolving and trying to reproduce. It's just something God made so that Adam and Eve could have food in the Garden of Eden before he threw them out.
It's just another watch, James. Don't you understand?
Yeah. Or like that one tree, the bad tree that he made that they weren't supposed to eat. That
super
pocket
bad
snake.
tree.
The snake came along and told them to eat that fruit so they would know things, and God got real mad.
You know, if you think about it, if apples didn't exist, we'd be fine right now. We'd be immortal, according to their literature, if apples didn't exist.
Well,
so we'd be good.
One of his favorite jokes is, where would we be without women? He's like, in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no pressure on women at all. Okay.
Dave, nobody's ever seen a strawberry produce a non-strawberry.
Ken,
You might get a bigger strawberry. Or
that's
apple
not
but it's
what
still a strawberry.
evolution says happens. When you say dogs never produce non-dogs and things like that, you're mischaracterizing science. You're mischaracterizing evolution deliberately, again, to trick people into believing you. Nothing in evolution ever says that dogs produce non-dogs. Nowhere is that said. What does that have to do with anything?
Okay, Dave, calm down. Let's take that statement. Nowhere does evolution say dogs produce non-dogs. Is an amoeba a dog?
No.
Just yes or no. Okay. Did the dog come from an amoeba?
No. Well,
What?
no, wait. See, this is a bait and switch.
Yeah.
A current amoeba that has 4.5 billion years worth of evolution behind it is not the same as the ancestral amoeba-like creature that existed, just like bacteria existed 4.5 billion years ago, or about that amount, and bacteria exist today. But the bacteria today is vastly different than the bacteria that existed 4.5 billion with a B years ago.
He doesn't understand that the bacteria today are just as evolved as we are, and that all evolution means is they're just very well suited for their environment. We're suited for our environment. They're very well suited for their environment. Evolution doesn't care whether they can make things or build things. It's just about replicating genetic material.
Yep, and it doesn't have feelings. It's not anthropomorphic. I like to think of it in very much. It is just a law or a theory of fact. It is like gravity. It just is doing something, and the selection part, once again, is just the actual environment. It's why you have bugs and high brain bug if you're out there. It's why you have bugs with green skin in a forest environment. It's why you have bugs with a whiter skin in a snowy environment, or animals in general with a snowier skin in a snowy environment.
Yeah. Like animal camouflage. Why do tigers look the way they look? Why do lions look the way they look? Because
it's easy to see. And exactly. And it's easy to see how it got there. It's easy to see why, if you have blue skin in a green forest, why that bug gets picked off, unless of course you're poison, but that's a whole nother thing. But generally speaking, that's how camouflage works.
That's why in nature, anything you see that is unusually, abnormally colored in its environment is usually dangerous. Because otherwise, it wouldn't be there. Oh wow,
Now-
Jesus is the way.
Now you say Jesus loves me, and hi, I think that may be Zoe. If not, that's okay. Don't also remember that Jesus not only loves you, but he has to take me out to dinner if he wants to prove that. That's my thing. If you really love me, I feel like I would at least get maybe even a movie out of it.
It's
open to it.
coronavirus. So
I know-
maybe you could
okay.
Uber Eats you some food. Send you
Uber
some Uber
Eats,
Eats.
okay. I'd be open to a Zoom date. We could Zoom date. Get Jesus on the line, Zoom date. And okay, back to the Hawaiian t-shirts.
That's that guy who's trying to normalize Christianity, right?
Exactly. Trying to normalize.
Okay. Normalize
Sometimes
Christianity.
you have to normalize Christianity or normalize theism. And okay, so we
That's,
have Donald making another comment. Just to be clear, there is no amoeba-clad. Amoeba are polyphyletic based on traits, not ancestor. So whether any of our ancestors may have been amoeba is totally irrelevant. Exactly. Well, I mean, his whole foundation is on. I once again don't want to straw man him, but it does seem like a lot of his foundation seems on a not understanding of the science. I mean, Professor Dave isn't arguing his opinion. He is explaining what is. That is the difference.
Explaining reality.
Wine and dine me. All the pictures make Jesus look hot. I mean, so most of them. So, I mean, bring it on.
Hey, come on, yes
You're
or no?
carbon
Did the
ancestor.
dog come from an amoeba?
What does this
You
have to do with anything?
You're
What
not
does this
asking a
have to do with
question,
anything?
son.
It
It's
did not
because
come
everything
from an
to do with
amoeba.
everything.
No, it did not come from an amoeba. What does that matter?
Well, the charts in the book show the amoeba turning into all the creatures, including the
No,
dog.
they don't. Show me a book that shows that, Ken.
Okay,
No
okay,
book
here we
shows
go.
that. Show
All right.
anything coming
He has
from
to
an
get
amoeba.
his slideshow down.
Okay,
An
how many
amoeba
of you-
is a protist that has a common ancestor with all other eukaryotes. An amoeba is a eukaryote, right? Is an amoeba a eukaryote?
a eukaryote simply means the cell contains the nucleus that's bound in a membrane. That's a
And
common
it has
design.
many other organelles and very similar metabolic pathways. These are
and in your
all
mind-
the gesture of evolution.
And I'll use the same terminology you've been using. In your simple mind, you think because they're all eukaryotes, therefore they're all related. Couldn't that not be of common design? You know, all the
Can't-
cars on the highway have metal in them, iron.
You're
that
just
prove that
using the
evolution?
exact same analogy.
Back
Why are you
to man-made
How do we
objects.
Cars.
organisms? This is
Okay.
not a valid
How the hell did we jump to cars?
There we go.
analogy.
Oh,
You're
He
saying
does
that
the same thing with skateboards.
no. Adding
And I just want to say that I've seen that series and shout out to The Mandalorian. This is the way. Good time.
Praise Jesus.
biological ability to reproduce makes it a
Praise
trillion
Jesus.
times more
Praise the
complicated,
Mandalorian.
much harder for you. It'd be
Ken,
much simpler for a skateboard.
Do
to
you
turn
know
into
what a
ball than for an
paternity
amoeba.
test is? Do you know what a
Okay,
paternity
here we go.
test
Here we go. 202. Alt DV 202. You asked for. Here is a tree of life used in the textbooks that shows humans and arthropods and worms coming from a single cell or sponges. Do you believe we all came from sponges, Dave? Do you believe this textbook
Yes.
is right? You
Yes.
do. Okay.
Do
How
it.
about this
Yeah.
one?
Do
Humans
it.
and trees and reptiles all came from a protist. So if it wasn't an amoeba, did we all come from a protist? Do you believe that? Is this textbook right?
I believe it may have been some kind of protist. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How about this one? Humans and birds and mosquitoes all came from, look at this, and worms and snakes and sharks all came from,
Yeah.
let's see, an amoeba. There it is. Do you believe an amoeba turned to a dog? That's my original question.
The amoeba is not at the root of the tree,
how it
and
works.
no, it's not saying that amoeba turned into a dog.
Okay.
You
Let's try
are
this one then.
mischaracterizing science, and
Okay,
it's
I
an
don't want-
argument really. All you're
Dave,
saying
the
is,
last-
I don't
hold it.
understand it, so it can't be true. That's what you're doing.
The last thing I want to do is mischaracterize science. I think you are misrepresenting
No, that's what
science.
you. That's your MO. That's what you do.
And so Donald says, in other words, not all descendants of amoeba will be amoeba, just not all legs. The descendants of flying things can fly, and not all descendants of things will have legs with legs. Exactly. It's, uh,
Penguins and ostriches are still birds.
I was about to say
even though they can't
penguins.
fly.
Yeah, exactly. It's what's useful in their environment. If an animal or really anything gets into a different environment, there will be a new niche arms race, and whatever fills those niches, it's how dolphins were created. It's how dolphins got to how they were, because they were like they're ugolots. I can't even say it. They're related to two-toed ergolots, like camels and horses and stuff like that. And a creature like that went into a more water-like environment, and
Spent more
over
time in the
time,
water.
exactly, there was probably a time when there was a more hippo-like animal that was able to move between the land and the water, and just like how a hippo does right now. And then you eventually get to the point where the niche is just driven to where they spend so much time in the water. The prey is in water. Things are doing good.
Yeah.
You don't need your eventually your generational offspring of shorter and shorter limbs until they're gone. And that was just based on the environment. There wasn't a guiding hand or a force, or at least you could, not that we can tell. It just seems like, once again, that word, it's just grinding down. The environment's grinding down on mutating genes.
Like the blind mole rat is a mole. It spends all its time underground. It has two fully functioning eyes that are covered by a flap of skin because it doesn't need its eyes. It's underground almost all the time where there's no light. The only thing eyes can do down there is get injured, get infected, cause harm to the organism. They're of little benefit, but evolution still had them there. So the easiest thing for evolution to do was, throw a flap of skin on in front of it. There you go. Problem solved. They don't get infected anymore.
And
not
okay,
like a god designed it. Well, let me give it eyes, but then I'm going to cover it with skin because why not?
and bye, Jim. It was nice having you. And I just want to say, I saw your one comment. So here's. I don't think you can see my personal. You see my personal, Jim? It's right there, baby. I should be doing it more. I'm supposed to do it 30 minutes a day. There's my exercise bike. Yeah, I've got to do it more because it's not about to get better at BJJ or all that stuff. It's not about lifting weights. It's about endurance. So I need to get my chubby butt on that bike. Okay. Woohoo! So Donald, and so have a good night, and
good night, Jim.
Hearts. Donald says descendants of the clan are members of that clan. Hybrids between two clans are members of the last common clan. Descendants of things with a trait might have that trait. Don't try to bring up concepts like the tree of life, Donald. Yeah, that'll trigger them.
Yeah, because that means
how dare
humans
you?
And strawberries are related, or mosquitoes.
You're telling me I came from pond scum? Pond scum. Pond scum.
Or a rock.
All that you do.
Or a rock.
When you
all
say
that I do.
We'll get to that.
I didn't know that. How come I'm so tired at the end of the day?
Science.
Okay. Now, Dave, let me make it very simple for you. You like to make things simple. This chart shows humans and mosquitoes coming from a protista. Did the dog come from a protista? If it wasn't an amoeba,
you
I'm
already
sorry.
did this 9 times. You can say all animals and all plants.
You're not answering the question, Dave.
Same question 18 times. You can
Did
say
the dog come?
and then
Here it is
any
right on the
animal you
chart.
want. Yes, they're all related. The answer is yes.
Okay, good, fine.
What's the
So
problem?
the dog. I'm trying to make a point here now, Dave. the dog came from a protista, and a protista is not a dog. So you said that I will always say dogs produce dogs, and you said that's not what science says. That's not what evolution says. Of course, dogs
Aren't
always
they
produce
both
dogs.
eukaryotes?
Well, then why didn't
Aren't
the
they both
protista?
eukaryotes?
Why didn't the protista keep producing protista? Somehow it produced a
It
human
did,
on
it
this
did.
chart.
I like a hair commercial.
Did you not know that there are
Please
many
try
protists in the
protista.
world?
Yes. Do you not know that they have lines on this paper connecting the people to the protista?
So
Do you
what?
see the lines on the paper, son? They connected a line from a human to a protista.
See the line? Did you see the lines on the paper, son?
Yeah,
I know he
those
didn't mean
lines
it to-
trigger him. Yeah, unfortunately, Kent, they're not just lines. There is
Why
science
that
to
true?
support
You're just
them.
saying that you don't understand it, so it's not true. What's the
I don't
point?
understand it, so it's not true. I don't believe this for a sec. I think it's retarded to believe a protista turned to a human. Now,
What
if you
I
want to
would-
believe that, that's fine.
No one says that. See, that's you
You do.
mischaracterizing it. You said protista turned into a
You
human.
think
What does
this
that
chart
mean?
is right? Dave.
Over 2 billion years, Ken. Over 2 billion years.
Okay. So instead of a kiss to turn the protista to a human, it took billions of years. That's your new magic ingredient?
What's
If you
wrong with that?
If you kissed a protista, it won't do it. But if you wait
See,
billions of years, the
That's
protista will
what you
turn to a
do,
human.
is you just try to mock it. You say, ooh, kiss.
Oh, I'm muted. I was about to say, what the hell did he just say? Okay, I'm glad that Dave picked up on that.
And tornado. This is what you do.
I
You
am
just
mocking it because it is
You say if you
stupid.
kiss a protista, we'll make it into a dog.
What?
No,
Based on
it's
your
not how
incredible
it
expertise
works.
that does not
Oh, yeah.
exist because you have no education whatsoever? Is
Oh,
that what
okay.
you're basing it on?
Now, here we go with the okay, I'm a kindergarten dropout, okay? But I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's ever seen a protista.
Hold on, I gotcha. But I'm telling you, Kent, just get on stage. You got this. You're in the wrong avenue. Stop hawking the invisible product.
What
and
did
just
you think
crack
was so
those
funny?
Jokes. No, he just here. Hold on one second.
You have no education whatsoever? Is
Oh,
that
okay.
what you're basing it on?
Now, here we go with the okay, I'm a kindergarten dropout, okay?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There we go. See, he's got it. Go, come on, Kent.
But I don't think anybody's ever seen a protista produce a non-protista. Where's
And
the example?
evolution does not. Wait, what are you? Wait. Evolution does not say that it must. What are you saying?
This chart came from an evolution textbook, and it shows a protista turning to humans, gorillas.
They're
plants.
eukaryotes. They're eukaryotes, Kent. They're all
Did the
eukaryotes.
protista turn to a pine tree and a human? This chart says they did. This is what kids have to learn in school. You do believe a protista became a human and a pine tree.
Over a
You
billion
believe that,
years.
son?
Yeah. Huh?
Okay, just admit it. If you want to believe something that dumb, that's fine.
Okay.
But don't call it
Kent,
science. This
all
isn't
you're
science.
saying is that you don't get it, so it's not true. So let's get into
I
the.
get it
Let's
just
get into
fine.
this. Kent,
I'm
Kent, we're
pointing
not
out-
getting anywhere with this. You're going to take all the animals forever. Let's talk about genetics.
Science.
Let's talk about genetics. What is a
Calm down.
paternity test, Kent?
Okay.
What is a paternity
So-
test?
What somewhere for the protista to become a human,
Okay,
new
so
information
you don't want to
has
answer
to
my
be
questions.
added.
You're just going to go on and on and on and on about protists turning into whatever
I
you
want,
want to
I
talk
want you
about.
to.
What
I
are we
want
gonna
the audience to see what a dumb religion you guys have chosen to follow.
Not a
Protista
religion.
Produce,
do? Not a
it
religion.
is a religion. You believe.
No, there's no moral code. There's no social structure. There's no up,
Imagine.
natural
Here you
beast.
go.
Not a
Put your
religion.
name on it right here.
Woohoo!
Okay. Put your name on it right here. You imagine that over millions, billions of years, the protista could turn to a pine tree and a human. That's what the charts show, and that's my objection. It doesn't
Kent, there's
happen.
overwhelming evidence to support it.
Well, I've asked you to show it to me. The protista.
Did you
had to
not
get some
hear
new
the part
information.
about fossils?
Dave, protista don't have a lot of
Love
things.
it when the
that-
audience-
Gallery there.
And okay, Ancher, have an
Night,
awesome
Ancher.
time. And Donald says, the way Kent interprets such ancestral trees makes me wonder if he's used to being told his cousins and siblings are also his ancestors. Oh, I think Kent gets asked that kind of question, but it's a little bit more closer to home. But see, Kent, we can all make jokes. Come on, come join us. The water here is
Well,
fine.
who did Adam and Eve's? Who did their kids have to marry? Well, of course, brothers and sisters. I was the only people that were alive. They had no choice, but it was okay. God made it so it was okay.
It was
back
okay
then.
back then. Gotta understand the context. The context.
Right. Same thing after the Ark. After they got off the Ark, it was okay. The inbreeding for a few generations.
It was a happy drowning. A very happy drowning.
Free will drowning.
Arms. They don't have
I agree.
brains that they do. Protista have everything humans have.
No, I agreed with you when you said they don't have hands because anyone can see.
Good. We're getting somewhere. So somewhere along the line, the Protista had to have new information added to turn to a human on this chart, didn't it?
Yeah, and I just told you that all mutations are new information. It's new information. It's a new gene.
Okay.
What do you not see about
you're
that?
welcome. You're welcome to imagine that this happened, but where is the scientific evidence for any Protista adding new information? Protista have a very short generation time. I don't know what it is for a Protista, probably a couple of hours. You can get the equivalent of millions of years of human evolution in one Protista lifespan.
To turn into a human, what does that have to do with evolution at all? I'm telling you that very slow accumulation, gradual change, mutations, new genes. Did you not see my slide in the beginning? It's biochemistry. Do you know any
Free will
biochemistry?
drowning. Yeah,
Gene
absolutely.
expression? Do you know how gene
Exactly.
expression works?
Dave,
Do you know
You gotta keep that free will right up until the point that they start to drown, and then it's kind of like, about free will.
Maybe they should have evolved gills. Just saying. Maybe they evolved gills. Go ahead, do it. You believe in evolution. And Pharaoh, God hardening the Pharaoh's heart was of course, a free will hardening.
Oh my Jeebus, let me tell you, when you have to harden someone's heart 5 times, I think it's you. Maybe.
Yeah, at least
I don't
5
know.
times.
I don't know, Yahweh.
understand.
New proteins?
Hey,
Do you know how that works?
yes, I understand. You do a good job of making things simple. I'm trying to make it simple for you. The charts are showing
No,
the
you're
kids.
not.
Oh yeah, the chart. Here's the chart right here. I don't know where you see it on your screen here. Right this way. Okay, I can't get in front of it. This chart shows the Protista becoming slowly over billions of years through gradual mutations, through random chance mutations. The Protista turned into a pine tree, a human, a horse, a gorilla, a dinosaur, a shark, and a starfish. And you believe this stuff, don't you? You believe that, don't you? Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, Dave, you are welcome to believe that, but this is a religious belief. This is not science.
No, it's not.
No,
religious.
it's not.
You have a religion and don't even know
why,
that
why
religion.
did you refuse to address any of the things that I said in my opening statement? Why are you not addressing fossils and geological data? I know that you
let's
have a
take
lot
one.
of talking
Dave,
points about them that are
let's
all
just
alive,
take-
so
let's
why
take-
don't you address them?
One of my requirements when I debate someone is we talk about one topic at a time. If you'd like
He
to
loves
talk
that.
about fossils, I would be glad to. Let's stick on that one. Let me point it out.
You might not be prepared for that,
science.
if you know what I mean.
Pay attention. Fossils, you cannot prove any fossils had any children at all. I've got fossils all over our museum here. Here's a petrified
You
clam.
can't prove none of them had kids, can you?
May I respond to the dumb thing that you just said? May I respond to the dumb thing that you
Sure,
just said? Or do you just want to keep
Oh,
steamrolling
snap.
and say dumb thing after another?
No. You're not listening anyway. But did this
No,
clam
I heard what you said. And I know this talking point of yours. You say that a fossil, there's no proof that it reproduced or anything like this.
That's
your talking
true,
point, right?
isn't it? Your
Why
Honor?
does that matter? Kent, if a
Why
human
does that
being
matter?
dies, Kent, let me say what I'm going to say because I'm demonstrating to you that you have no idea what you're talking about. If
Okay.
a human being dies without having reproduced, the entire human species go extinct.
No.
So
I'm
what are you
asking
talking
you-
about?
you're-
That organism doesn't have to have reproduced. It is a member of some species, a population. That one died and we found it. So what?
Okay.
What's the
Wonderful.
difference?
That's great. We have fossils all over our museum. Dave, a simple question. Could you
Withdrawing that
prove,
talking point of yours?
yeah, because you don't get it. Could you prove
No, you
this
don't get it.
fossil?
Do you
You
understand what I
said
just said?
fossils. Dave, you said fossils are evidence for evolution. I'm pointing out
Yeah.
you can't prove that fossil had any children. You couldn't prove it had children.
Don't have to.
Why
Did
don't
you
we
hear
still-
what I just said? That
No,
fossilized
he
organism
didn't.
Irrelevant.
have to have
Population.
reproduced.
I've heard it till I want to
Okay.
puke on it. Okay.
You want to puke on it because it demonstrates that you have no idea what you're talking about.
I have every idea what I'm talking. You're the one that doesn't.
No, you don't, or you wouldn't say that dumb.
Now here we have the classic philosophical Plato argument. Nuh-uh, no you. As it's often
Your mom
said
is
in-
fatter. Your mom is so fat. No, your mom's fatter.
No, you. I believe, as the Western philosophers used to argue.
Thing that you just said.
No, what I said was true. You don't get it. Fossils would in an honest court of law, no fossils would count.
Yeah.
They would all be thrown out because
Where
we
the
don't see
judge is a developmental biologist? What do you mean a court of law? Who cares?
Dave, we don't see any animal today. This chart shows a protista producing a human. We don't see protista produce anything other than protista today. But you think a fossil
Yeah, you
protista
do.
could do it?
What do you mean other than protista? No, evolution does not say that. See, this is why you need to define kind. Because if you are saying that kind is species, then you're wrong.
What's in that cup, Kent?
Speciation occurs. Do you agree that speciation occurs?
That's a slippery term, but yes, I'll give a qualified
It's really
yes. I
not,
agree.
though. It's really not a slippery term, though, because species is not a slippery term like kind. Species is a population of organisms that can produce viable fertile offspring. It's actually a very rigid definition.
Okay, good. Now, there is a whole population of protista on this planet, like trillions of them. They are having babies all the time. Do they ever produce anything other than a protista? Today. Can we watch them
Evolution
today?
doesn't say that they will.
Evolution
Everything
says
will
that they
belong.
did. Let's say
Kent, no, a
protista.
protist is not a species.
Oh, he's
A
got a
protist
microscope.
is not a species. A
You're
particular
gonna be looking for something.
paramecium
Oh,
may
snap.
evolve into, or a subset of a population of paramecium may evolve into a new species of paramecium, but a protist is not a species, right? A protist is a group, and you're deliberately using protist because it's so poorly defined. It's not a
It was
kingdom.
on the chart. I just showed you one on the chart. I'm trying to help you understand, son. Okay, let's try
No,
this
you're
one.
not trying to help anybody understand anything
I am.
ever. You're trying to make money. That's what this is. Don't try to
Whoa.
screw around.
These folks live here and work here.
whoa. You think I'm trying to take money? I do
Buy
this
my-
out
buy
of the
my
goodness
stuff.
of my own heart. Buy my DVD.
Am I in this for the money? Oh no, you bet.
Oh, yes, the peanut gallery.
Isn't that sneaky, though? Because what he does there, as far as I have been told, is he has land. And people like strays can come there and live there. And on the first day, it's free. And on the second day, he puts you to work. That is how the rumor
Yeah.
goes. So thank you for asking your staff that you don't pay. Are you guys workers? No, because they don't get paid. I know
Well,
what
like
that's
they'll-
called. Biblical
They'll pull
service.
like the benefits, like they'll have them apply for their food stamps and everything, and then they'll send people to the grocery store with that. So they'll take that. Yeah, your benefits like that. But
So your hard-earned tax dollars are going somewhere. Is that retarded, Tommy?
I mean, there's all sorts of rumors. We know there's a sex offender roaming around there. We know a kid died on there. Yeah, very shady.
Dinosaur
place.
Adventureland. Which one does he
Yeah.
own? Uh-oh.
Dinosaur Adventureland, that cult.
Dun, dun, dun. Not so much an adventure.
Basically like a cult.
My gosh.
Well, that I was gonna make that reference. I can't tell if it's creepy or not because look, us having a staff is not creepy. You have a show that grows. Eventually, you want a staff, but I don't know. It's like a weird mix. Is it a staff? Is it like they're not being paid? So are you a communion? It's about really finding Jesus. So is this a religious
I think
thing?
some of
Like,
them get an
it's-
allowance. I don't. Yeah, but a lot
Oh.
of them are just drifters and.
That's also a little weird. But yes,
Oh.
I mean, I guess it's good. But if you think about it, I don't know. It just crosses over a lot of weird lines. I mean, hey, I don't want people to be homeless either. So I'm glad that, people
mean,
are finding a place to live.
He would
But,
say,
yeah.
this is just like slavery, like in the Bible. Like these people, they don't have a place to go. They're not good with their money, so they can come to me. I'll give them a roof over their head. I'll feed them. No, you got to work. I mean, I have work to do, so they are put to work. But I mean, these are people who had nowhere else to go or no other way to sustain themselves. So therefore, slavery is good.
It is close to indentured servitude. It is a little borders on, you know, are you doing this out of the kindness of your own heart, or are you doing this for free labor? So it's a little morally gray, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But exactly, he's using that. He's equivocating that for biblical slavery. I own you, and you can't go away because I have a whip, mother.
And then they're dependent on him. You know, It becomes like a cult of personality. Like, I make the rules. You got to work for me. You know, otherwise I'll make you leave.
I can't imagine there's many atheists in that staff. No, I mean, I guess if you're a Christian, you want to have
I've
people
heard that
working
some of them,
for you.
Some of the people there fake it, that they don't really believe in all his thing. They're just kind of
make it, baby.
freeloading. Yeah.
Well, you know why you can kind of tell that? Maybe.
Why?
You could tell that when laughter is inescapable. So when I was complimenting Donald on that in the debate, is when you can make his staff. Have you ever seen like a Jon Stewart versus I forget who it was, like Hannity or stuff back in the day? It was always just great because he had this certain way of just calmly, I want to say, trolling them, but
or even like the White House Correspondents' Dinner where they're roasting the president right to his face, but it's all in good fun. You know?
Yes, I'll. You know, the only thing I regret about that Trump presidency, he should have been a man. He should have went to those correspondence dinners. He canceled the correspondence dinners.
Did he ever go?
Biden. No, he refused to go to the correspondence dinners because he didn't want to get made fun of. Which is so silly because exactly. But he's been roasted twice. He doesn't laugh. He creepily doesn't laugh at his own at the times when he gets roast, but he got roasted. So I gave him credit for that. But he canceled the correspondence dinners. So hopefully Joe Biden.
Even Obama and Bush, they would go and laugh.
They would go and laugh. That's the key thing.
Clinton.
It's Bill Clinton.
It's
exactly. Funny. And it's healthy that you can friggin' laugh at yourself. Hey, Vesta, Amy, I was surprised to hear that you had. Oh, thank you so very much. I'll be honest, I forget about it half the time. It's a big thing and not a big thing. I'm so knee deep into my science and my lovable Pastafarian. And okay, well,
Spaghetti Monster says it's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Says it's making good time.
Do
you want to go to the Q&A? We'll see how it's doing.
Where
and
are
then
we at time-wise for the debate?
We're at about 40 minutes, and we're about an hour and 30 now. You know what? We'll open it up during the Q&A.
Yeah.
And we'll just maybe do a little, as I cough, a little bit of Q&A and let the floodgates. That'll be a good transition. Hey, okay.
Did you agree with you?
Yeah, what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Dino Park man.
Okay, I have parks. I have slides.
More shots fired.
10 million slides showing all life forms going back to a common ancestor, which was a single-celled creature, whether it be a protista or an amoeba or whatever class you want to put on it. You think this single-celled creature became a horse, a pine tree, and a human over millions of years slowly. I'm asking, where's the evidence?
The same thing over and over and over again. Incredulously, it's not an argument.
Dave, I say the same thing because, Dave,
it's not.
You and I both taught mathematics. 2 + 2 is 4. It was 400 years ago. It's going to be 400 years from now. You don't.
What does that have to do with anything, Kent? What does that have to do with anything?
It has to do with the fact that I don't need to change what I say.
This is
very
circular. Because all you're doing is the same thing over and over again, saying Protestant plants. What's going on? This is so crazy. So let's talk about the evidence. Let's talk about fossils.
Let's talk about the evidence. Have you ever seen a protista or an amoeba or any bacteria produce something that was...
He just said fossils, and you're going off of the exact same talking point that you just did.
Fossils. Okay. Have they found any fossil protista or bacteria or amoeba, any single-celled fossils? A lot of them have been found. I mean, lots of whole rock formations are made of trillions of fossil single-celled creatures. Have they ever found any of them with evidence of new information like a leg or a wing or an arm or an eyeball?
Bacteria don't have those things. They're not multicellular organisms. So what you're saying has nothing to do with anything whatsoever.
But the chart shows they became multicellular organisms, and you think this happened. They drew a line on paper.
Right.
Keep trying, Amy. You'll get it in eventually.
Here's new species came about, but that does not mean a bacterium must have a wing. That's a very dumb thing to say, and it's something
Dave, you're not getting it. You're still not getting it. Hey, hang on. I'll get it right here. Let's see, right here. Science is knowledge. What we see and observe and test is single-cell creatures.
That's a very cute prop, Kent. It's adorable.
It's very appropriate, too. Very appropriate.
I like it. Come on, I dig it.
Imagine that all these things came from a common ancestor. You have a wild imagination, Dave.
So all we're establishing that is that you don't believe biology, and so we're not getting anywhere with that. So let us talk about geology.
Biology, bio means life, and ology is study. I taught biology 15 years.
No,
yeah,
you didn't.
I'm sure.
I didn't.
Okay.
You lied to children in a church. That's not teaching biology.
I lied to. You're the one lying to children, saying we all came from an amoeba or a single-celled creature. Slowly,
I didn't say
over billions of years, you're lying to the children, Dave. You're teaching a dumb religion of evolution.
Okay, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. So why are you talking about it?
It's true, and you're not getting it.
You're going like this, la, 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 la. That's what you're doing. Kent, why? Explain to me why.
Okay.
All of the fossils, you agree that there are geological strata, yes?
I agree that there are many layers of rock on the Earth. I do not agree they are different ages. I have
hey, KCA.
Pictures of petrified trees standing up, connecting all these layers.
Now, call them whatever you want. I'm asking you a question. Call them whatever you want. In these layers, there are fossils, yes?
I agree.
And they are organized in a pretty particular way, yes?
The fossils are not always in that particular way. If there's any,
they are essentially always in that particular order.
Then you have been lied to, and you swallowed a lie.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. Can you find for me a hominoid fossil in a very low layer next to a trilobite fossil? Can you find that?
That's very interesting. We have a section in our museum working on right now about trilobites living with humans all along. There might even be some.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating, though it's not based in reality.
Dave,
now you keep derailing me, so I never got to ask you my question. My question for you is that you believe that these layers were deposited during some kind of flood, as waters were draining or something like that, right?
I agree. Yeah, the layers were deposited in a flood.
Okay, so then what I want to know is number one.
Most of them, nearly all of them. There's still layers today being deposited, but I'd say 95% of what we see was deposited during Noah's flood. Yeah.
Number one, why do the layers have zero correlation with density? Why does the density not increase as you go down? And number two, why are these fossils in those specific layers, in that specific order, everywhere around the world?
Okay.
That magic floodwaters sorted everything.
I have in front
just to make it look like evolution.
That has 4 different densities.
He's going to debunk geology right here. Right here.
4 different densities. But every time you flip it over, it makes 30 or 40.
Once again,
layers.
More props.
Are any of those limestone or sandstone or granite? Are those in there?
Dave,
I wouldn't hate, but he's in the wrong profession. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not sure what you know.
I'm just disproving geology right here. The geologists, they're dumb. Like Ogre, doesn't know anything.
Noah, the Earth is turning around, in spite of the flat Earth.
I hope Ogre comes on tonight for the flat Earth
and so if the Earth were turning for
that would be good.
Tides going up and down with no interruptions, it would make thousands of layers, and the density would be completely confused. Generally, clams are found at the bottom.
What do you mean completely confused? What does that mean?
Well, during one tide, you would get more dense and light dense, and then 6 hours later, you get another tide coming in, bringing another layer on top of all that.
And the thing is, the tides go in and the tides go out, and how do you explain that?
So you may get more dense and less dense. Just Google stratigraphy, experiments in stratigraphy, stratigraphic experiments at Colorado, at the Navy.
So
experiment
you're
there.
saying that tides exist everywhere on Earth, in every location on Earth at the same time. Is that basically what you're saying?
Well, during the flood in the days of Noah, the earth was covered and the tides would cover the world. Now, some parts of the world have a high tide. While
Hey,
other
look,
parts
we
have a
almost
low
talked
tide.
about
You see,
Christianity.
So how can you get the same strata everywhere on Earth? Tides occur on a coast.
If the earth were
Does have a globe. At
during
least
Noah's
he's
flood,
yeah.
tides would occur everywhere, Dave.
What do you mean they would occur everywhere? Tides occur on a coast. Tides come in and out. If the world is covered by water, where is a tide? How does
Okay,
a tide
hold it. Let me explain. Here is the Pacific Ocean. They have a high tide and a low tide in the middle of the Pacific. You don't see it because you're in a ship floating up and down. But the Pacific Ocean actually comes up and down during the tide. What do you mean tide occurs at the coast? Have you ever studied anything about earth science?
I know about lunar tides. You're talking about the depositing of
Is he asking someone with a master's or a PhD in evolution or biology if they have? Okay. Yep. Yes, he is. Okay.
sediments in a
Yeah,
particular
he kind of is.
Right. See, the world is turning. At this latitude, 31.3366 degrees north latitude in Lenox, Alabama, we're turning 886 miles an hour toward the east. If the tide were going up and down during Noah's flood, the water would have to rush sideways at really high speeds to fill that bump.
Really high
Down
speeds.
the other way at high speeds to lessen the bump.
Science.
What does that have anything? How is it any different than tides today?
Okay, it's not. It's not. But the tides today get interrupted by banging into the continents. Earth turns toward the east, so the tides generally hit the eastern coast a little more because the tide is being drawn out by the moon, lunar
You're
gravity.
trying to describe some kind of magical quality to tides that doesn't exist. We see what tides do today, and we see what they do.
It's very simple.
That's
Here, look at
science.
this.
I got the
just
globe.
flipped this thing
Hurrah.
over. These
Look at
pieces of sand made, probably 20 different layers.
And again, are any of those things sandstone or limestone or granite or anything that would be applicable to this discussion whatsoever?
I think it's pretty obvious, even from the name. You might even get this. Sandstone is made from sand, okay? Sand is moved very easily.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the first truthful statement of the night. Kent, sandstone is made from sand. Well, good night, all. We learned something today.
Well, at least he's not a flat earther. At least he's got.
At least he's not a flat earther.
But it's not the same material. How does it possibly compact into?
That's true. At least his globe is round, right? We got that going for us.
That's one of the.
It would have to harden over the next few hundred years after the flood. After Noah's flood, the layers would harden, and some of it's chemical reaction. There are different types of sedimentary rock.
He's just trying to take all this bullshit
every
in.
location on Earth at the same time, such that the strata are the same everywhere on Earth.
Well, first, if you think the strata are the same every place on Earth, you have really been lied to in your education.
Nope.
You're the one that doesn't have
Definitely
education.
not.
The strata are all different areas, and all over the
So
world,
we're done.
identified trees are found standing up, connecting these strata. So how
That's
can
not
you
a
claim
problem.
they're different ages?
Some are in
What's that?
volcanic ash. Some could be due to a local flood. That is not evidence against anything.
I agree. I got it. You need to watch my video number 6.
I don't
about
need to
the
watch
flood.
any of
Why am I
your
doing
videos,
it?
Kent.
You didn't? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Did you?
I didn't, and I don't need to.
Oh, I know you didn't. It's obvious, but you need to. It would help you a lot. Okay,
No, I
you really do
don't.
need to. Okay. Tell you what, I'll watch some of yours, and I'll put you on my list to whack an atheist. Are you an atheist or just an agnostic, or what are you?
I don't really feel like telling you because it's not really
Oh,
part of this discussion.
snap.
It has
And
nothing to
he's
do with God
right.
whatsoever, unless we
Fair
want to
enough,
actually
fair
talk
He
about
is
the
an
Bible.
atheist, but he didn't want to go there in this.
But he's right. I mean, that's why you see so much support from other theists.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this guy doesn't represent us because we're on team science and Kent isn't.
That wasn't the title of the debate. The debate was the evidence for evolution. You're claiming there is evidence
No,
for
the title of the
evolution.
debate is
He's about to point it out, and thank you, Professor Dave, because that was like about to be a volcano of emotion from me. That is what they all think. They all just think it's an evolution debate. It's probably, Kent is probably the one who picked this title because this false dichotomy comes from creationists. So yeah.
evolution versus creation, and the
Boom, exactly.
in the Bible is your evidence for creation.
Well, no, even without the Bible, I could say it's obvious there's a creator. I think somebody created this coffee cup. Had nothing to do with the Bible. This has a creator.
And do you know why that is, Kent? Because that is something artificial. And we are surrounded in our lives, because we're lucky, we're surrounded by artificial things made by people who have put lots of time and effort into it so that we can have amazing services and cool stuff. But that by definition doesn't happen in nature. We don't plant coffee cups. We plant acorns because they are naturally occurring.
You trying to say that a coffee cup is designed because you can see people design and make coffee cups? You trying to say that?
I would never. How dare you?
You know
let
that cars
science
don't
come out of
evolve
your
because you
mouth.
know how cars are made. They're designed and built by man. You know that? Okay.
Yeah. It really it's a it's equivocation and misunderstanding. That is this argument.
It wasn't a tornado going through a junkyard. You know that's not how they make cars. So you know.
That's
But have you
not
ever
how
seen
it
somebody
happens.
make a universe? Have you ever seen somebody make a universe or make life?
I
Have you ever
haven't.
seen a universe creating, life creating genie just poof stuff out of nothing?
Though once again, I never saw a Jeepus come back from the dead either. So,
Well, there were people around that did, and we know that
of
it's true.
course, there we go. But see,
An old book says a thing. An old book
there you
says
go. Says it right here.
in the
Right
Bible.
there. In the Bible. The lovely Bible.
Another man-made object that has nothing to do with anything. Your argument is that a designed thing exists, therefore everything is designed. Well, I can tell you that something like a snowflake forms spontaneously, so everything forms spontaneously. Neither of those conclusions follow from the premise. They're both bad arguments. You should stop saying it, even though it's one of your favorite ridiculous things to say.
Well, it's not ridiculous. It's true. And you're not getting it, obviously. So I need to say it over and over again. I'll tell you what, most of the audience is getting it, even though you are not. It is true. Do you believe the first living cell, the first living creature on the planet, came from something that was non-living? Because I used a coffee cup, which is non-living. Do you believe the first living cell came from something non-living?
Kind of a gray area, but at some point you'd have to demarcate that. Yes.
Okay. So how did this non-living, whatever it was, soup, collection of chemicals, you can have whatever you want. How did it
you're not saying rock anymore?
Well, that's what the textbook shows, that the rocks.
Oh, no, it doesn't. But that's what you always do say. But it's interesting that you're not saying it right now because you know that
I'm going to try to get you to admit it, Dave. Now listen, do you believe the Earth began as a hot ball of rock 4.625 billion years ago, or whatever number they're using now?
Yeah.
Okay. Did the rocks cool down? And then it rained on the rocks and produced chemical. Oh,
the amazing thing is he asks questions, and every time Dave says yes, Kent is surprised. But it's like, yes, that is what we're telling you. Where's your misunderstanding here?
Do you believe you're related to a cockroach, Amy? You telling me that? A spider?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, and you know where that comes from? That comes from this, oh, how dare you put me on equal footing to a cockroach? Well, you know what? Cockroaches are pretty awesome. I get it. People freak out.
So when you smash one with your
house,
shoe, that could be a great cousin of yours. Yeah.
I know, exactly. You're killing Vinny. How dare you? But, and then hell, they may outlast us. So it's the shitting on other animals that really gets us into this problem because they just view it as it from
but they're well suited to live in their environment.
Exactly. And so Donald says all known artificial things so far are a subset of natural things. When someone can show evidence of a supernatural thing, we can consider altering that Venn diagram accordingly. Exactly. In fact, the word supernatural, it's one of my talking points. There's no such thing. As far as I can tell, people Could someone demonstrate to me what supernatural is, and I'll believe you. Because
Because even if there was a god, he would still sort of
He would still be
somehow be
natural.
part of the natural world. He would just be a physical property of the universe. Maybe
But
it's an
James-
unchangeable property, but
James, it's supernatural. It's like natural, but now with 100% more natural.
because even if God created this universe, he would still have to come from another universe.
Oh,
He would still be inside that universe,
Oh,
part
baby.
of that universe. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. With my dirty mind, but yes, exactly.
Oh baby.
Soup.
And
Oh,
the
baby.
sacks and the asses, just like Joseph
Okay.
Specifically, the sacks and the asses.
Fine.
That most of the textbooks call it a
with
soup.
the money.
Do you believe this soup somehow came alive?
The
Eventually,
soup
over
did
millions
not
of years.
come alive. Organic molecules organize themselves into ordered systems, which eventually we can
so
describe as
The
life.
living,
Yes.
the living things came out of this organic molecule came from this soup, from the rocks that got rained on. Dave, you believe you came from a rock. You just admitted it. Don't even know it.
No,
even
I
see it.
don't. I believe that organic molecules produce life, but you know who does believe that humans came from rocks? You do. You believe that
Oh.
God created Adam from dust. So you're
You are
describing
correct.
your ridiculous
Bingo.
belief.
Now,
Not
Oh.
mine.
let me try to explain. I'll try to explain it simply. This coffee cup is made of 100% natural materials. Okay, ceramics from the ground and stuff like that. For a man to take the materials from the ground and produce a coffee cup is understandable. For an intelligent God to take the
Yeah.
dust, make a human, that's logical. For the dust to make itself into a human, that's not logical, Dave.
Obviously,
Are
Dave
you running
knows
away
way
from
more about any of
Not
this
talk
than
about that because you're going back
Kent
to
ever will.
Let's talk about it. Please tell me how life got started, Dave.
Hmm?
So please tell me, how did life get started? From the soup, from the rock?
Absolutely. I can summarize what we know. We know that very basic organic molecules are demonstrably able to form. We know that nucleotides are able to polymerize spontaneously. We know that ribozymes are able to self-replicate ribonucleotides. There are a number of viable hypotheses about how amino acids initially polymerized. We're talking about tidal pools, we're talking about hydrothermal vents. Admittedly, we do not know exactly which of these occurred, but they are extremely plausible. Then this, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how long do you want to talk? Hypercycles, protobionts, getting to the first protocell, right? This is all.
No, this is good.
Sounds pretty complicated, huh, Kent?
I'm glad you said what you just said. I think we need to analyze this line by line. You said there are many hypotheses of how life got started. None have been proven, of course, but there are many hypotheses. Why don't you take each one of these hypotheses and simply do it in the laboratory and test it? There's a whole lot of laboratories out there. Why don't they take some soup and make it come alive today? Has anybody in any laboratory ever seen or produced, even with all the chemical brains and chemical chemists in the world, have they ever been able to make life today? Or did it only happen long ago and far away in the imagination? Where do we see it today?
Craig Venter did create synthetic life. He did.
Craig Venter, I'm going to write this down now, created synthetic life. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
And where is this? Where can I look at this up? Is this Venter, V-E-N-T-O-R?
Yes, Google's name.
Okay. I will certainly do that. So listen carefully. Is Craig
Or
Venter
just ask God.
a scientist?
Seems like it to me.
Okay. So if an intelligent scientist created life, wouldn't that prove it takes intelligence to make life?
Oh, very clever. I see your argument. So you're sort of
You
saying,
finally see one.
gotcha,
Hey, there's hope,
gotcha.
folks. There's hope. You finally see one. Good.
So you're saying you're basically setting up a situation where nobody could ever demonstrate the validity of abiogenesis because you're going to say that it will always require intelligent design. Well, sorry, that has nothing to do with anything. That doesn't demonstrate that abiogenesis did not occur.
It demonstrates the whole point. Nobody sees it happen without intelligent input. An intelligent God can take the dust and form it into a man and breathe into the nostrils and it comes alive.
And
That's
you don't think that's stupid?
No, I think that's the only answer we can come up with.
You're looking at.
That's the only answer he can come up with.
Evolutionary biology and very well understood things that slowly create organization over time. And you think that
he likes the magic better.
On dust is not stupid?
Hold on. You said this is well understood, but you admitted They don't know how life got started. There's a bunch of hypotheses.
We
and
don't
one
know
intelligent
which
scientist-
hypothesis occurred. We don't know which of these hypothetical processes occurred. They're
Well,
all
go test them.
they're all very plausible.
They're all plausible. Well, then make life 20 different ways then. Why don't you do it in the soup and do it in the ocean and do it in the warm little pond?
Yeah, do it in the ocean where all of the living
Every
organisms.
room of the house.
consume organic
Kinky.
materials. How's that going to work, Kent?
You mean because there's already living things there, life can't get started again because they would eat it? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a big
okay.
problem, Kent.
Let's get rid of all the living organisms. Let's get you a pot of hot soup, just chemicals, no living organism, and make some life. You said
Yeah,
you
but
wanted
then
to
you're
talk
going to
about
do
that.
the
straw man.
see, intelligent creator. That's what you're going to do. That's why you're setting.
I do have to compliment Ken, though. You know, I have never seen such a beautiful straw man. It was very highly created, very durable. I feel like it would have scared every crow that came away. So
this up
You're
this way.
finally getting it, Dave.
Yeah,
Nobody has
and
a
then
clue.
how duplicitous.
He's
you are.
admitting that
No,
his
no,
bullshit
no,
argument
no,
is what
no,
exactly
no,
what he was
no,
trying to
no,
do,
no,
the straw man.
in the laboratory. I don't believe you at all about this Venter guy making synthetic life. What is he defining life as anyway?
The same way everybody else defines it. He made a synthetic
Okay.
genome, and it's an organism.
Did this synthetic life that he created, was it able to move, breathe, respirate, reproduce, give off waste, the things normal life things do?
Yeah, it's a unicellular organism. It's a bacterium.
So he created a unicellular organism.
He created the
From
genome.
what?
He synthesized the genome for it. Yeah.
Let's see, it's up on the screen here. The first synthetic cells made in 2010. Inventor's team at the C. Craig Venter Institute in California, out by you, copied an existing bacterial genome and transplanted it into another cell. Now hold it. He copied an existing one and put it in another cell. You think he made life? Dave,
Well,
what?
it counts. It's a new organism. He invented a new organism.
The question is abiogenesis. Did he create life or copy a living
That's not the
organism's
question.
brain?
He did not create it from constituent parts, but that's not the question you asked me in that moment. He created a new species.
Oh, okay. So who's being evasive and duplicitous here?
I just
Dave?
answered the question that you asked me, Kent.
Okay. Have any scientists been able to create life from totally non-living material? Taking the existing gene code of a bacteria and transplanting it is not creating life. Try again. Who else besides Venter
Well, it
didn't do it?
is. I mean, technically it is. He created a new living organism.
He did not create life.
do we have any examples of life being created by a deity?
An old book said something about that.
That's true. And remember, we always have magic.
Yeah, a deity. He did that. He has a bunch of different names. Jehovah, Yahweh, I am that I am, the
My
Lord
favorite
God,
is jealous.
the God of
Man out of his
Abraham,
mind.
Isaac, and even, yes, Jacob.
And even Jacob?
Even Jacob, yeah.
Hold on.
I
You're
know
just
if he
gonna
would have
name
just stopped at Abraham and Isaac, but he's got
James, you're going to name
Jacob.
drop like that? Okay.
Yeah. He's a big deal. He's kind of a big deal.
Kind of
Created
a
new
big
bacterial
deal.
species that is alive.
I didn't say make a new species. I said, how do you get life?
Let my people go so
He
that
did
they
not
may
start
serve me
Started
in the
with some living
wilderness.
material, Dave. Bacteria, the one
Okay.
he started with was already alive. He took
Okay,
the
so
brains
it's
out
a
of one and
different
put-
topic of discussion, but it doesn't matter. It's not disproving abiogenesis in the
Oh,
slightest.
it matters greatly because that's why I said you guys believe, you imagine that life can get started from non-living material, and it can't happen. It's never been observed. It's not science. I have
Yeah,
to this.
we know it happened at least one time.
Can you see atoms, Kent? Can you see atoms?
Oh, no, you're going off on a rabbit trail unnecessarily here.
No, it's not a rabbit trail. You just said
can't
that we don't know that we know it can't happen because we can't see it. I'm asking you if you can see atoms. Can
No,
see
you can't
atoms?
see gravity either. Can you see gravity? Can you see? You know
And
what
they
light
both
is?
exist. Isn't that incredible? So we're establishing that you don't need to watch something happen or be able to.
He does accept gravity.
occurred. And
Okay.
you are wrong that there is no viable hypothesis. We have viable hypotheses that are very credible. Now, saying that there's two reasons why this thread that you're pulling along here is ridiculous, because number one, anything that I say, you're just going to say, see, it's an intelligent designer. So it really is not going to be relevant.
Because it's true. Because it's true.
No, it's not
So
true.
Ginger's not intelligent?
An experiment, you're asking for an experiment that is going to replicate conditions from which,
Got about 1 minute left. And then we
of
have
all the discussion?
It's 40 minutes.
Whoa.
Okay,
That
well,
was fun. That was fun. I had fun.
I had
Yeah,
fun
you did
too.
not have fun,
if
Ken.
you get a chance to start with the Bible, which is most of what you talked about originally, I still would like to.
Well, I'm sure we can do that. No, I believe the Bible. I'm not asking it to be taught in schools, though. You're demanding that your hypotheses of life starting from a soup be taught in schools. You want me to pay for that for the kid? You're brainwashing the kids.
We just
You're
want
gonna
you to
pay for
pay,
that?
Kent.
You're going to pay for that with what?
And I don't mean metaphorically.
All
I
of the
just mean
property
like
tax.
in a tax.
No, he hits him with that.
Tax pays for the schools. Yes, I pay
Taxes?
lots of that.
You want to talk
Taxes?
about taxes?
I pay every tax I owe. You want to get on that rabbit trail? You talk about a straw man. Yes,
Oh,
take that as you'd like.
I just
snap.
find it ironic that you bring up taxes.
Well,
And I
I'm
think everyone
pointing
wants
out
to know why.
because I'm trying to explain to you, because you seem to be a little thick-headed here. Schools are paid for by property tax. Roads are paid for by gas tax. I pay every tax I owe, and there's a website with 15 hours of just about Kent Hovind is innocent. If you want to go to that.
As all innocent people are, there's a website dedicated to my innocence.
Well, he used to whine about him being in prison, and they had to move him around so
If
often.
you get the case overturned and they give me $300 million, are you going to apologize, Dave?
Yes.
You won't. You will?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's not going to happen.
If not now, Judgment Day, it'll certainly happen.
We
So
so
you've not given any
Good
science of how
opportunity.
life got started.
I hate to break off, but it's really hard with only 40 minutes, but just to jump in while we
Kent
can.
always keeps these things very time limited. He doesn't.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah,
Exactly. He doesn't want to.
to go on too long because he might run out of
specifics, right?
slides or material, run out of his script.
That's right. And okay. Well, with that,
Open
then
them up.
we are gonna open the floodgates.
Open the gates of hell.
I'll be sending the link into chat, but we are opening up our woohoo! So I'll be sending the link into chat. But so what did you think, James? We've been midnight ranting on creation versus evolution, and we just had Kent Hovind and Professor Dave give their openings and their back and forth. What do you think?
I think you need to look at the Kent's backside. You'll probably see like tire tracks on it because he just got demolished in this debate. It was, yeah. You could tell Dave had done his research. He's watched all Kent's videos and his previous debates. He knows exactly like the bullshit ploys and the rhetoric and the nonsense that Kent's gonna pull because he always does it because it's all he has.
Same script.
Yeah, it's the same stuff. If you've seen one of his debates, you've seen basically all of them because he's always the same script, the same lies, the same misrepresentations of science, the same, fishy reasoning. How would you rate his
And the same
comedic
dad
skill?
jokes. His comedian. I'm gonna. You want me to be honest? I'm gonna say a 6. He could have pushed me over to a 7. I really feel like he didn't lean into it. The props were good. I'll give props on the props. I'll give him an 8 for props.
SpongeBob the Hammer.
Yes, but I have to
toy.
hand it to Professor Dave because Professor Dave, no props needed, scored plenty of dunks, I think, on his own. And so
Which prop did you like the most? Did you like the globe,
Oh,
the sand art toy?
I mean, I almost squeal every time I see SpongeBob, but that just may be because that's his shtick. But I have to say, he's giving me a run for my money. I don't know who has more. So it's
I mean, a
interesting.
sand art toy. It demolishes geology. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. And okay, so the link. Oh, that's the Discord link. The link. Did I just send the Discord link?
You did, yeah.
Oh, the
It's all right. I can still go to Discord.
Oh, they can go to Discord, but hold on. If anyone
right
would
now,
like
but-
to that's what happens when you copy pasta.
And we did find out that apparently sandstone is made from sand. Thank you, Kent.
Yes, that's always good to know.
Good creation science right there. That's the cutting edge of creation science, creation geology.
Cutting edge right there. We're gonna get it in there. We're gonna fit the bibble.
Bibble. Or make the science fit the bibble.
Make the science fit the bibble. And so we'll wait for a little while people come in to join. If not, we'll listen to maybe a few questions of the Q&A, and we'll wrap it up. And it's
Kent,
been, I've had a good time.
He is looking for wife number 4, Amy.
Oh my. Now I'd volunteer myself, but I think what's his name might have his eye on me. What is frogs gay?
Alex Jones. Yeah,
Alex Jones.
He might he might want to jump in on that one, yep.
And woohoo! So we're coming up on our hour 2. We have our first guest. We'll probably go for about another half an hour longer.
Who do we have in the hopper?
We have the fantastic and wonderful Donald. Donald, we have been midnight ranting on creation versus evolution. I can only imagine what you have to say after watching all this.
He is probably
Hovind.
Ready to.
So I know. So with that in mind, what is on your mind?
Well, my words could never keep up with my brain at this point. But
okay.
To start with, there's a little discussion that was going on in the live chat about monkeys being the ancestors of humans. So for anybody that might have missed that, and maybe a little clarification, monkey is traditionally a paraphyletic term. Referring to old world monkeys and new world monkeys, but not the monkey ancestors of old world monkeys and new world monkeys, because those monkey ancestors are also ancestors of humans, and humans didn't want to be identified as descendants of monkeys because that would make us monkeys. Technically speaking, those monkey-like ancestors or monkey ancestors, depending on how you define them, probably should be classified as monkeys, and the term monkey probably should be monophyletic. Again, traditionally it's paraphyletic, and it leaves out our ancestors specifically. And they did the same thing early on with the classification of apes, that ape was defined basically as all apes except humans. That, you know, it was known that we were apes, and they specifically excluded us humans from the definition of apes, which of course that has been corrected within the scientific community. You know, nobody with any credibility would refer to humans as non-apes, because we are apes. That, you know, that would be a great way of destroying one's credibility, is to, you know, refer to humans within the scientific community as non-apes. We're just not that. Any rate.
Yep. So creation versus evolution, and Ken Hovind in general, or anything like that. Doctor.
Yeah, well, you know, Kent likes to pull this little thing of pretending that evolution is a creation story competing with his religious creation story. And it's not, but I can understand why he sees it that way, because evolution does create things. And his creator that supposedly creates things hasn't been evident anywhere ever. So we know that evolution actually does create things, and it does so through a process. Now, if you look up a definition of creation, generally you will find two distinct types of creation listed. There might be more, but generally there will be creation as a process of making things come into being or form or something to that effect, or an event of making things come into being or be formed or something to that effect. The difference being, is it a process or is it an event? Now, evolution is specifically a process, and it is a creative process, although it does not always create in the sense of like making something that we humans would recognize as something new and label as such. Sometimes it just makes minor changes add up to something that really doesn't seem all that different from the thing that it was started with. But that's a matter of human perception. Technically, anytime something gets a change added to it, what it becomes is something new, unless that same thing has been formed before. And with all the possibilities of changes that can happen, it's extremely rare for the same thing to form twice in that respect. In most cases of things that can evolve. Now, if you're talking about the simplest forms of evolution, it can happen quite a bit. For example, counting is a form of evolution. It is the accumulation of the change of adding one. You start with one, you add one, that changes it to two. You add one, that changes it to three. You add one, that changes it to four. And if you start over at one and do the same thing again, you will get four again, and you'll get five again and six again, and so on, depending on how far you go. It's not a matter of that evolution can't produce the same thing again. It's a matter of, in complex things such as biology, it becomes extremely unlikely to produce the same thing again. That is exactly the same thing. Now, as dolphins were mentioned earlier, which have fins or flippers, depending how you look at them. If you call them fins, then you could say, well, fins were evolved again. Some people, I think, would probably not define them as fins, but rather more precisely as flippers. Technically, they're forelimbs, and they evolved from their ancestral forelimbs, which were walked on land.
Okay. And so, thank you so much, Donald. We're going to do the first three questions. Oh, Satan summoned James again, so he's out fighting the good war against Yahweh, but he will come back. And so we're going to watch the first three questions and have some commentary, and then we'll finish up and we'll head over to Discord. All right. Let's see some Taxivist.
So we're not doing all the questions?
See, there's still another 40 minutes, and we could easily double that 40 minutes into another 2 hours. So maybe soon. But we got.
Well, maybe you could do another episode doing the rest of it after those first
Exactly.
That
In fact, cool. I think we have to do your Q&A, Donald. We should still do that. I'd still.
Yeah, we still haven't done that one
his
yet.
Q&A even.
That sounds good. See.
I'd be happy to co-host on a Q&A for this one as well if you want to have me on there.
That's good. Well, you're gonna do that right now because let's get through the first three questions.
Thanks for your questions, everybody. And next, we will jump right into it. So
That's his echo, not mine.
And
I think
it's everything, but we'll sure try. So it's Harry James. Thanks for your super chat. He said, "A dog, a bear, and a butterfly. Which is not like the others, and why?"
Well, it depends what you want to call similarity. I could say they're all attracted by gravity, so therefore they're similar. They all take up space, therefore they're shine. What
I think
exactly
this-
does that mean?
I
A
think
dog,
this
a
is-
bear.
I think that they were.
They all live on Earth.
Common
They're all
question.
made of cells.
They're saying a dog, a
Could-
bear, and
Could I
a butterfly,
interject?
which is
Absolutely.
Okay, a dog, a bear, and a butterfly. The question isn't really, or shouldn't
Walk into
really
a bar.
Yeah, the question shouldn't really be, like which one is not like the others, or which one is like the others. It should be a matter of which one is least like the others. I think that's what was, intended. And if you ask it that way, it's quite obvious. The butterfly has wings. The dog and the bear don't. The butterfly has an ectoskeleton. The dog and the bear don't. The dog and the bear have an endoskeleton, which the butterfly doesn't. The butterfly goes through a pupal life stage, which the dog and the bear don't. There's just all kinds of differences between the butterfly that don't exist between the dog and the bear, because the dog and the bear are closely related and share a lot of the same exact genetic sequences in common. The butterfly shares less of the same exact genetic sequences in common and is less closely related. So I think that's what was being gotten at. And it seems to me that Kent is trying to misdirect what the question was obviously about by saying, well, all three of them are affected by gravity. Well, sure, that's true. All three of them are physical things as well. All three of them are thinking beings. So we could go there as well. All three of them are not supernatural. But who cares? Who really cares about the things that all three of them have in common when the question was about their differences?
Yeah, I agree. Well, he wants to obfuscate.
All three of them are different.
and why. I think that
Just one's more different than the other two.
They're all animals.
Well, butterfly,
There
if you want, insect, if you want to put that in it. But I think they all have some similarities because they have the same designer. Very smart designer, designed all the different
Hold
types
on.
of animals.
I'm
And
so sorry.
butterflies always think.
Very
Did I
smart.
use- We got
No.
it back, I think.
No, it's here.
Yeah, I would contest
It's
that.
just not like the others. They're saying they're
Evolution isn't that smart.
they're saying a dog.
Woo-hoo. And we have the awesome and amazing Peter. We have been Midnight Ranting on creation
Peter.
versus evolution. We've been watching Ken Hovind and Professor Dave. How are you, and what are
Hi,
your
Peter.
thoughts?
The awesome and amazing. So there's another Peter.
Oh, there are lots of them out there. Some of them
That
are just
can't-
hanging
that-
around,
That can't be me. that can't be me.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Well, and
What do you think, Peter?
I don't know. Someone might have something to say about me being not all that awesome or amazing.
Ooh, I
Just say-
dig it. I dig that shirt.
It's free. You can get one for free.
Really?
If you it's called McBoomer's Rejects. So you can get one for free if you watch A Scientist Mel or The Geek Room. Then you can get points while you're there and get a free T-shirt.
Hey, I dig free T-shirts. And okay, so what do you think about either the debate or just creation versus evolution itself?
So I recently got to talk a little with Professor Dave. He was a guest on Orange Channel. And,
nice.
Before the show went live, we did touch on this as well. It's one where Hovind clearly lost. There's no way that he can claim that he won any of this, because
Does anyone know one where he won?
every single time Dave asked him a question,
Good question.
Hovind needed to deflect to something completely different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Seems to be what he does.
it's because he doesn't have the answers.
No.
So
no.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
and Dave knows the right questions to ask, and that's the
Well, I think what it is that
thing when
Kent
you know the
has,
questions to ask. You're going Malin.
I think what it is that Kent has certain canned answers to certain questions, and whether they're right answers or wrong answers doesn't matter to him. What matters to him is whether or not he can convince people that he's answered. And so if a question comes up that he can deflect into one of his canned answers and give that instead of an answer to the actual question, it avoids him having to face the fact that he doesn't have an actual correct answer to basically anything.
Gotta stay on script.
Yeah, exactly. It's a flexible script. It's just improvising from a script.
And a butterfly, which is not like the other.
Well, we're gonna go. I'm just gonna go back a second. Let's go.
Just that they're saying which is not like the other. So they're saying there are three, and they're saying a dog, a bear, and a butterfly.
So he's trying to bring it back to the question.
Why?
They are all different from each other, and we have 4-year-olds here at the campus that can show you that a bear and a butterfly and a dog are different kinds of animals. I think we could find some similarity. That 2 of them have hair, all 3 of them breathe. One breathes through the skin, 2 breathe through the mouth. I mean, the question is
the wisdom we learned from Kent.
I think the dog are different in a lot of ways. I think both 4-year-olds can tell you that.
Can you pause it a moment?
Except the 4-year-old that he had on his dinosaur labor camp, and asked the question, and the 4-year-old apparently got it wrong, which was hilarious.
Well, I just agreed with Kent a little while ago before he said what he's just said. All 3 of them are different, but as I pointed out, one of them is substantially different than the other 2. The other 2 have smaller differences between them and fewer differences between them. So again, he's deflecting from what the question was obviously intended to be asking, and I can understand if he wanted to point that out as well, but that's not what he's doing. What he's doing is he's avoiding answering the actual obviously intended question, and instead trying to bring it back to the fact that they all have things in common, and what their things in common are that have nothing to do with evolution, because he doesn't want anyone to realize that they have things in common because of evolution.
Yeah. Doesn't want to face it.
Stupid.
Yeah. Doesn't want other people to face it.
Question for Hovind: do you think God is disappointed in your lack of new material? So they want new speeches, Kent. They say that you're using the same material that you've used for years.
Yeah,
I think God can do with a little bit better stand-up comedy. Amy, you should.
I agree.
You should become a writer for him. Get him a few new
Help
jokes.
him out, Amy.
For God or for Kent?
Yeah.
For God or for Kent?
I got
him
one.
evolve.
I got one. Everything brings forth after its kind. Since we know Eric Hovind, Kent, who did you steal from? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a simple one.
Yeah.
Effective, but simple.
But then of course there are exceptions to the everything brings forth after its own kind, because we know fat kind doesn't always produce fat kind, and tall kind doesn't always produce tall kind, and female kind doesn't always produce female kind, and male kind doesn't always produce male kind. And I mean, you take any category
depends on
that
how
you
you're
call
using
it
the word kind.
Yeah, exactly. Take any category that you can call a kind, and it may or may not produce after its own kind, or it may some of the time and not the rest of the time. So yeah, it's just not a reliable thing to say that each will produce after its own kind. What was meant in the original language, I couldn't tell you, but how it came out in English, the Bible really doesn't have a point to be made there. If there was a point, it got lost.
The Bible.
See,
the Bible.
Dak, here's the thing with stand-up comedy. If someone makes a joke, you don't spend the next 15 minutes explaining the joke.
Well, that was funny.
Because then it doesn't work anymore. It's not how jokes work. Not at all.
Well, I was
Oh,
wasn't
Amy,
responding to the joke. I was responding to the content of it.
Now tell the audience.
Amy, can I please respond to Robert X and
Sure.
and chill a bit? So Robert says,
Absolutely.
how can Peter be in two places at one time? I was in more than two places at one time. I'm currently shilling Kitty the Atheist, who's going to make more content on her channel. She's coming up with a pretty important stream, and I've told her that I'll help her out with anything she needs. If she needs artwork, intro, guidance on how to use OBS, we'll get her set up. But she needed 100 subscribers to grab her custom URL.
That's right.
And it took us 2 days to get her to 100. So
Really nice, rockin'.
We did it, and
Woohoo!
yeah, if people want, please go over and subscribe to Kitty. I'm not telling what the content of the stream will be. It will be an important stream, and people need to go over and sub, please. I put the link in the description.
Yeah, I finally got my custom URL for YouTube as well. It took a while after I reached the 100 because I guess sometimes there's a delay. Yeah,
you've been on YouTube what 9 years?
What's that?
I said you've been on YouTube about 9 years. What?
On that channel, I'm not sure. I don't think it's anywhere near that long on that channel. It's rather new. My older channel, probably at least that. And then my channel that I lost the password on, I'm pretty sure it's longer than that. So yeah, been on there a while anyway.
Second joke that got a miss.
Okay. Yeah, well, I've had my custom URL.
Where's Oz? Where's Oz when you need him?
I've had my custom URL on the other two for a really long time, but this new one,
Jesus is here.
The one I'm meaning to, do something serious with, and I've been sort of waiting to get enough subscribers before I do that, which is probably not a very good way of going about it, but it's what I've been doing.
Okay.
I was trying to find your banner. Go check out Eminent Reflection because my fingers aren't.
Yeah, it's a new URL. Apparently,
yes.
youtube.com/Eminent.
You know what? I'm not gonna knock anyone for getting excited because I was excited when I got my first 100 subscribers. I had to look at the URL. I was like staring at it and being like, "That's mine." Holy moly! So it's a good feeling. Amy Newman. And okay, so I think we'll do maybe two more questions because we're doing a good roll. But then we've been going on for a little while, and so
give Kent
it's
the coup de grace.
time. The coup de grace, exactly.
Yeah,
and so let's. I'll go back maybe a second or two because we got. And before I even
Kent would
begin,
prefer you not.
the fantastic.
Oh boy.
We have Oz from the Atheist Round Table. How are you? And we are Midnight Ranting on creation versus evolution. What are your thoughts? Ooh, as I burp. And that's I agree.
He's coming.
Okay.
And that's okay. While he's doing that, we'll go back into the question. I went back a few seconds.
On new speeches.
Yeah.
They say that you're using the same material that you've used for years.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Well, I taught math, and 2 + 2 was 4 when I first started teaching. 2 + 2 is still 4. I don't need any new material.
What? If I hear the words 2 + 2 = 4, Orwell used 1 + 1 = 3 or 2 + 2 = 5 or whatever to be symbolic. He meant it to be like this is an institution that can twist you to believe the things that you do not know. But if I hear another person go 2 + 2 = 4, therefore God, I think I'm gonna pop.
There are 4 lights.
Well, he's
Five lights, I
trying
forget
to
how many
imply
rows.
that things don't change. That that like once a muskrat, always a muskrat. Once a mammal, always a mammal. Well, okay, so yeah, in monophyly that happens. We humans are mammals, just like our ancestors, and dogs are also mammals, just like their ancestors.
And they
Yeah,
always
the-
will be.
the-
They'll always be.
It doesn't work the other way around.
And no one seems to come up with the bloody obvious because apparently Kent hasn't read his Bible. After Jesus, everything changed. So change is even in the Bible. Jesus did a 180 from what he did in the Old Testament because apparently he changed his mind or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of God and Jesus changing their mind in the Bible.
So yeah, he should read his Bible a bit more.
Read the Bible.
Read the Bible.
You should probably read something.
Yeah, in fact, it would actually probably be helpful if he read something other than the Bible. I'm okay with.
I did it. We summoned Jesus.
You summoned Jesus?
Look,
Jesus?
who's in here. Look who's in here.
Dun, dun, dun. It's
just
Jesus.
It's him.
Are you sure?
Jesus. It is. You see the picture.
Sure? But are you sure that's what Jesus
It could
looks
also
like?
be a bad caricature of him.
I've met several people named Jesus, and none of them looked like that.
My yoga teacher's named Jesus. I don't have a yoga teacher, but if I did have a yoga teacher, they'd be named Jesus.
Yeah, I've also met people. I've also met several people not named Jesus who thought they were the Jesus of the Bible. So there's that, and none of them looked like that either.
And okay. Amen. We're gonna let him
really fantastic.
Really fantastic. We're gonna let him do his response. We'll do 2 more questions, and then we'll all have a group hug. We'll hug it out. I like to hug it out.
Plus 2. I don't need any new material on the creation. It's true what I said before. It's true what I'm saying now, and it's true what I'm going to say in 20 years. If there's something that I'm saying that's incorrect, maybe they're just tired of me saying the same thing because they still can't answer it. Of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
What you've been saying has been incorrect for the past 20 years, Kent. It's not. As you said, there's nothing new. It's been wrong for 20 years. It's still wrong.
It's been wrong since like forever. Way before he ever started saying it.
They're sneaky, dirty rats.
Boy, doing that. So I do produce a lot of new slides and visuals. I work very hard at my job here.
Slides?
And I try to produce, we have cool science experiments here at our science center in Dinosaur.
Liar, pants on fire.
But yeah, I produce new stuff all the time. We work hard.
Oz, you're triggering Travolta. He's coming in looking where the hell that comes
from. But as far as new, I don't need to change truth. Truth is not going to change. And
our science center.
Dogs from now on.
And a dog will always produce a dog, Kent. The dog does not produce a dolphin.
Well, an interesting thing to note is that, in monophyly, non-dogs produced dogs precisely once. Non-chihuahuas produced chihuahuas precisely once.
Incorrect.
Okay, correct me then. Go ahead.
As far as we know, there might have been 3 or 4 instances where dogs evolved from wolves at different times and on different locations. It's not.
Oh yes. Well, no, I wasn't talking about.
It didn't happen once. It happened multiple times.
If I could clarify, I didn't mean domesticated dogs. I meant dogs, as in canines. However,
and that's what I meant, which happened more than once.
Well, yeah. But what I was talking about is monophyly. In the case of monophyly, yes, there may have been several cases of several ancestors that became the ancestors of the dog population. But in monophyly, by definition, that is one occurrence of dogs evolving from non-dogs.
No, as I said, it's multiple occurrences on different in different places and at different times. So it's not one occurrence; it's multiple occurrences.
You are talking about things that are still part of the same interbreeding gene pool, right? Or are you not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, and I,
But they,
you know,
they didn't
I'm
come.
not trying
They
to
didn't
say,
come. They didn't come from one domestication event. They came from multiple.
right.
domestication
And,
events.
I just to be clear, I'm not trying to say that you're wrong in any sense, but that wasn't what I was talking about. You know, I'm going again by the definition of what monophyly is, and by the evolution of the gene pool, not the evolution of the individuals. And yes, there are multiple stages in that evolution. It's not an event; it's a process.
No, it's not. It's not multiple stages. It was multiple events.
Well, those events are stages. Those are parts of the evolution of that gene pool. That's the whole thing. Because, for example, domesticated dogs still are wolves. You know, they haven't stopped being wolves. Technically, you know, we should be calling them domesticated wolves because it's less confusing. There are domesticated foxes also, which are also domesticated dogs because a fox is a type of dog. It's not a subset of what we generally call domesticated dogs.
And that's where you're wrong, because the domesticated foxes, I don't think can interbreed with dogs. You're talking about the silver
They can
fox
interbreed
experiment.
with foxes, which are dogs. They can't interbreed with what we generally call domesticated dogs, which are domesticated wolves, or at least they can't readily interbreed with them. Because they are a different species.
We're talking about the silver fox experiment in Russia,
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think they can interbreed with dogs.
Again, foxes are dogs.
I'm saying the offspring of the silver fox experiment, which are a new species, no longer the original silver fox, they cannot interbreed with dogs.
I understand what you're saying. The silver fox is a fox. Foxes are dogs. Domesticated, what we call domesticated dogs, are domesticated wolves.
Foxes are not dogs.
They are dogs. Guys, what you're talking about, what you're calling dogs, are wolves. That's what I was saying. We should be calling them domesticated wolves because it's less confusing. That was my point.
Dogs are also not wolves. They're still wolves as in common ancestry, but they're a new species.
They're not. No, they are actually Canis lupus. They are the same exact species as the gray wolf.
They're Canis lupus familiaris, so they're a new species.
Yes, that's a subspecies.
Yes.
Canis lupus familiaris is a subspecies of Canis lupus. They are species Canis lupus. They are wolves. I'm only talking about the language right here. Okay, yeah. I'm just saying we should be calling them domesticated wolves.
And wolves and foxes had a common ancestor, which makes foxes not dogs, because they can't be the offspring. They can't be the offspring of something that had a common ancestor.
Except that the name of that common ancestor is also dogs. That's why I was saying it's a problem to call domesticated.
And at least it's an evolution debate.
Dogs, because it it gets too easily conflated with the larger
evolution
group, which is also called dogs. It's a separate. It's what's that?
You're still wrong.
So one of you guys has
to look it up. You'll find out I'm not. Please.
Okay,
just look it up. It's a language thing. I mean, I know English isn't your first language, so this.
Yeah, I'm probably stupid, but hear me out. Hear me out. If you have children,
okay,
right, your children won't be the exact same offspring as your nephews. They will be different.
Yeah,
they have a different lineage.
You're completely missing my point.
Yes, I probably am, because what you're talking about is not cladistics. It's not how cladistics work.
But that's okay, because I have magic of my own.
You know what? Dogs produce dogs.
Okay.
No exceptions.
And they
If-
always
They
will,
didn't come
Ken.
from-
If you would run a Google search for dog
you believe in
family,
the more rapid version of evolution.
you'll find
Yeah,
Canidae, and
because the
that's
kinds that are
what
on
I'm
the ark
talking about.
produced all the variation today in a few thousand years.
Okay, so go check that out.
So you actually do believe in evolution, Kent.
I believe in rapid variation within the kind. That's nothing like saying dogs came from a rock, Dave. You're the one
Variation
believing
within the
dogs.
kind that produces new species that cannot interbreed with one another.
Well, that happens. I mean, there are humans today that can't breed, can't make babies. Therefore, they're not human by your logic.
No.
That's not Homo sapiens, the species as a whole. So when you
But that
say
didn't-
dog, what
Incoming capitalism. Woohoo.
when you say dog, what do you mean? Do you mean Canis familiaris, or what do you mean when you say dog? That's not a scientific term.
I think that's true. The wolf, the Canis lupus, Canis domesticus, Canis familiaris. I'm not sure exactly where that border is, but I think most people would say there's a barrier. You can't get dogs smaller as
So
small
what
as
about
they-
coyotes and jackals and foxes?
Coyotes and
Are
jackals
those
are
all part of the
probably,
dog
and
kind?
foxes might even be in there. I don't know what the original kind was.
Okay,
It might have
so
diversified.
if two dogs,
jump
as you
into
call
the
them, were on the
next
ark,
question,
how did we get all these other things now?
Got to jump into the next question pretty soon here, guys. That's you. But just because we have limited time, John Lloyd, let's see. Terry James,
Amy, can I jump in real quick?
and why do whales?
Sure.
I did a Google search as suggested. So
Thank you.
foxes are part of the Vulpes.
Yes.
That's a genus that is a subfamily of Caninae.
Yeah.
Yes. So they are not
Yes.
dogs. They're completely different species.
Dog isn't a species.
Can I take a neutral
that's my
position
point.
and just say something that's not in either direction? So, foxes are, because I'm obsessed with carnivora. It's part of carnivora, and carnivora
Alright.
is separated into two different branches: fox-like, dog-like, and cat-like. And foxes are on the dog-like section.
Can
So-
I read
Yeah.
this? True foxes.
Canidae.
Can you please not talk over me, because otherwise you're going to be wrong again. True foxes
not
are
wrong.
distinguished from members of the genus Canis,
That's
such
also
as
true.
domesticated dogs, wolves, jackals, and coyotes.
Yes, that's Canis. I'm talking about
True
Canidae.
foxes.
Caninae.
True foxes are distinguished from members of the genus Canis, such as dogs, wolves, jackals, and coyotes. So foxes are not dogs.
Foxes are
You
not.
can
Canis.
keep continuing to be
Okay,
wrong.
if you let me speak, I'll correct this.
I'll put the link to the Wikipedia page in the side
Okay,
chat.
the problem
so
again.
that
The problem
people-
again is a problem with the
people
history.
can, so
the problem
that
is-
so that people can't
The
be wrong.
problem is with the history of the word dog in the English language. Again, it's an English
We're
language
not
problem.
talking about words in the English language. We're talking.
You're talking in English. You're speaking
talking-
in English, and the word dog is an English word.
We're talking about clades.
Right.
Dak.
Okay. So if you'll let me,
I
be
know.
more
I
clear.
know you agree
mentioned-
with
you
Hovind
mentioned
that
it.
evolution can take place
mentioned
through
that-
an intelligent designer, which I think is one of the worst arguments
Okay,
you've
so
ever
now
made.
you're going to deflect and talk about and try to claim that dogs have
Because-
not been
because
influenced in
you
their evolution
keep-
by humans.
Because you keep muddling the water.
No, I'm not.
With
Okay.
how
I'm going to. Okay, let me clarify this one thing, and then I'll leave, and then you can go ahead and diss me all you want.
I wish you would let someone speak.
And we're
Okay,
almost gonna have.
No, I don't. At this point, I don't even want to speak anymore. You've chased me away. Please let me clarify this.
You're
thing
wrong.
Before I go. Please.
I put the
let me
evidence in
clarify-
the side
Please
chat.
let me clarify this
Okay,
one
guys,
thing before I go.
guys.
They have the
Guys.
debate
Okay.
on the channel.
I
You
put
mentioned
the
that
evidence.
foxes are a subset of Caninae. They are canines. Caninae is a subset of Canidae.
No,
Canidae-
you're no.
Canidae
What you're doing is confusing two words.
No, I'm not. Canidae have been traditionally called dogs throughout the
No,
English language.
that is the genus Canis, not
No,
Canine.
that is not. Not all Canis are domesticated dogs. That's a separate dog group. That is not the dog group I'm talking about. Domesticated dogs have been called dogs for short because it's shorter and it's easier than calling them domesticated dogs. They are not domesticated dogs any less or more than foxes are domesticated dogs. They are domesticated wolves. That's my point. And Canidae.
If you had bothered to click on the link, you would have seen that it says that true foxes are distinguished from domesticated dogs, domesticated wolves, domesticated jackals, and domesticated coyotes. It's just click
there
on
are
the link.
domesticated wolves that are not considered domesticated dogs because domesticated dogs is a specific subset. It is the group that is domesticated gray wolves specifically. It is a certain species of wolf.
You and Kent Hovind have a lot in common. You can present the evidence and you will just refuse to look at it.
Hallelujah.
Okay. Here, I'm just going to post a link in the I'm going to post a link in the private chat, and I'll post it in the comments. And I'm out of here because I'm obviously not welcome here, and I don't need to be.
No one said you're not welcome.
You have said I'm not welcome. You've made it extremely
debate.
clear that I am not welcome because you don't.
I
want
told
to
you
hear
you're
anything
wrong.
All right,
at
guys,
all.
both of you
Goodbye.
calm down. No, you're welcome, Donald. You're welcome here. Downward. Calm down. Okay.
I didn't say he wasn't welcome. I told him he was wrong.
No, he is welcome here. It's
he is welcome here.
It's. I mean, if you guys want to set up a debate, that would be on it. I mean,
and we're not even gonna go. We're just gonna go right back in because we're almost done and have closers.
Jesus has fun. At least Jesus has fun. I made him laugh.
People
Jesus
decided
has fun.
whales in the mammal category because they breathe air.
Better than talking to a tree.
So it's our man-made classification. By Carolus Linnaeus
And Donald, I'm even going to flash this on
I think
screen.
it's a biblical classification if it's from
Be like close.
the fish category. So whales
What are
would
you
be in
flashing?
the category by their classification.
His link.
It's a matter of who.
We want to be
making
fair
the
to
final
everybody.
rules, you know, that varies all the time. I don't think
One
that's
of
worth
many
arguing about.
errors in the Bible. One of many errors in the Bible.
That's not an error to call a whale a fish.
Whales
That
are
was the
not
way they.
fish. Whales are not fish.
A whale is not a
Today
fish.
They're not because somebody decided to put them in the mammal category.
Yeah. Them big babbles got them put in the mammal category.
Somebody arbitrarily just deciding they're mammals. God made them fish, Amy. God made them fish.
See, it all makes sense.
Amen.
Whip it out, Amy. Go ahead.
The
The wand.
What is that?
Dave. Do they swim in the water?
The water.
Are you serious? Really? Is that your logic? Well, it's in the water.
Can I say that the way he did it?
Yes, you can.
I just want to do it because it sounds fun. Do they swim in the water? Do they swim in the water? The water.
Dave is going to do his version of it.
In the water?
In the water?
In the water too. Am I a fish?
In the water.
Looks like I have nipples. Can you milk me?
Yeah.
I swim in the water. Am I a fish?
Yeah, that's true. There you go.
That's one of my favorite movie lines ever.
nipples.
I have nipples. Can you milk me?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
there you
classic.
System. Whales are no longer.
Oh shit.
I don't think God cares what we call them. He said if they swim in the ocean or the water, they're in the fish category.
The water.
So we put them in with the fish.
The
and that's
water.
Is it that or that the people who wrote the Bible had no idea what they were talking about?
I think people swimming in the water would say, that could be in the fish category.
Water playing with the
Honestly,
nipples.
so little understanding.
Obviously, frogs are fish too because they swim in the water too.
Got to jump back into
Hallelujah!
guys. Just got a lot here. Dwayne Berg, thanks for your question. They asked, Professor Dave, how do you know anything to be objectively true when nature is evolving? Hence, your test and answers change until the heat, deathly nature.
The what? The heat? What?
I think.
Heat
maybe
death?
Heat death in nature.
Okay.
Heat, death, the universe.
Like
The end of the universe?
So, a theory.
The laws of physics are constant, so I don't know what that means. I don't understand what the question is.
I'm not certain either.
Are you asking like how we know radiometric dating works? Because
And so I think what we'll do, guys, is we'll let Dave finish this up on this question, and we'll do one more, and then we'll do our outros,
Yeah.
and we'll wrap it up for the night.
Right about 3 hours.
Amen.
Donald, I'm gonna send this into chat, but I'm not gonna read it because that'll exactly. But I okay. And we're doing that and going back to that.
how nuclear decay, the rates of nuclear decay are constant, which we didn't get to because Kent knows that he has no ability to explain that.
Furthermore, once we go into our outros, Donald, if you'd like to join us for them, you can come back on.
He can come back. He's always welcome.
Always invited.
You're dreaming, son. I can explain all that.
Brad,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can show me. You can show me. You can create all your things of anomalous data.
Brad Iverson, thanks for your question. They said, Kent, if man walked with dinosaurs, why are there detailed cave paintings of lions, horses, and cave bears and other mammals, but not one painting of a T-Rex?
I just decided not to paint one.
Well, I think you need to watch my video number 3 about dinosaurs living with man. There are lots of paintings, cave paintings.
Oh, he didn't watch my video.
Africa,
Yeah, exactly.
Swamp, which is
Buy
bigger
my,
than
buy
those
my,
in Arkansas.
my set.
If only you had seen my videos, then you'd understand.
Talking about the
$49.99, the whole set.
long now,
Yeah.
but there have been thousands of reported.
Got something in your throat there.
Still alive. There's been hundreds of sightings.
It's not slavery.
I do
It's
offer.
something else.
Not
Watch my
slavery.
video
It's
number
not
3 on
slavery.
So the person who asked the question is unaware that it has happened. There have been many cave paintings, ancient artwork, Roman pottery shows with dinosaurs on them. Egyptian pottery shows
Nope.
dinosaurs on them. So I think
They don't show dinosaurs.
it's invalid.
Gotcha, thanks so
No,
much.
it's not dinosaurs.
Okay. Oh, I
They
almost
also
feel
show
bad because you hear it.
unicorns, and the Bible has unicorns in it, but I guess we just haven't found those fossils yet. Not
I
that they
must
would
ask.
count as evidence.
I must ask in this screenshot right here, why does and big ups to James, mad love to James, but why does James look like he went to the same tanning parlor that Donald Trump went to?
He does look orange in this screenshot.
He's.
It's just
I,
the lighting.
I know the answer.
I'm gonna
It's
give
I
it
know the
lighting.
answer. I know the answer, Oz. He's trying to match up with the logo just next to him, which is also blue and orange.
There you go. He's trying to give a good contrast.
Yeah, so
And I
Design
can't help
thing.
it. I think I know Steve and Steve, so I want to, let's
Super
see.
Super Chat.
We'll do bonus.
Blocked. Don't want to know what you wrote. Mothra J Disco, thanks for
Okay,
your Super Chat.
and there
He said,
goes
"Why do you
that.
Keep ignoring the new material and evidence in order to maintain the illusion that you care
Last
about
one.
truth."
Nathan Thompson.
Oh, see, wait, let me answer that.
That's
Ignoring.
Ah.
I'll look at any evidence you've got. I asked Dave, does he know any evidence of how life got started? And he gave a bunch of hypotheses, but nobody's been able to do it. So nothing's changed. I'll be glad to look at Venter. Venter didn't make life. He took bacteria brains out of water.
It has nothing to do with biology, Ken. It's nothing to do with
It's
biology.
everything to do with it. Bio means
Come, Dave.
ology
I mean,
means study
evolution
of.
has nothing to do with biological evolution, which is what you think that you're talking about. When you're
Evolution
actually
has
talking about
nothing to do
biology.
with science, Dave. Evolution has nothing to do with science.
Oh my
Science is things
God.
we can observe, study,
It's the
test,
cornerstone of
demonstrate.
biology.
We can't make life in the lab.
This thing about seeing, but you admitted that you can't see atoms, and atoms are the basis of chemistry. So there's really no water to this argument that we have to see things. So
Okay.
You're wrong.
So
Oh,
science
snap.
has never been able to produce life. Therefore, it's part of
Nobody's ever
science.
seen a star form.
Nobody's
One
ever
time.
seen
Science
it.
has never been able to produce a universe. So what? We have evidence for the Big Bang.
That's-
We have
So that's what it
evidence.
looked like. Dave,
Evidence.
stuff like those topics should not be included in science. Biology should teach biology.
You think that an astronomy class should not talk about the origin of the universe, for which we have tremendous empirical evidence?
All astronomy
It contradicts my Bible, so no.
Talk to me about cosmology. Is it because you don't understand physics at all?
No, if it contradicts the Bible, no. Don't
15
teach.
years, Dave. You want to have a
No,
test on
you
physical
didn't.
science?
No, you didn't. No, you
Oh, I
didn't.
didn't. Okay.
Stop lying. No,
One
you
second.
didn't.
Just to try to get through more questions. So
And okay. What were you
Like
gonna say,
that.
Oz?
You
I
went
was
to
gonna say,
the churches and lied to kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kent's shirts prove that he lacks intelligence and doesn't understand science.
Yeah, Mr. Hawaiian Man.
shirts.
Woohoo. And Oz, that's fantastic that you spoke, because how are you doing? And we have been midnight ranting on creationism versus evolution. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad I was able to jump on in the middle of all the heat, all the heat, and the back
Heat
and
is on,
forth.
Oz.
To which you just added, Oz. You made the statement that people who wear Hawaiian shirts are less intelligent.
The heat is on.
Oh, snap.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, especially if your name is starts with a K and your last name ends with a H. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Good save.
Yeah, thank you. Because I actually wear some multicolored shirts, so I have to save myself there. I sound like an idiot.
No. I was referring to someone completely different.
Yep. Well, maybe D. Anyway. No. So with
Name starts with a K, though. Just say.
With the evolution and the creationism argument, like I'm still baffled. Like I'm still baffled that people can read that book and believe that just a short, however many years ago, that this is how the world. And I was just in a stream earlier, and they asked me to come on and talk about this. My favorite comedic scripture in the Bible is Genesis 1:1. In the beginning. That's really, really funny to me, because like whoever wrote that book, like, how do you know about the beginning? Were you there from the beginning? No. Fuck no, you weren't there from the beginning. So how do you know what the beginning looked like, sounded like, felt like? But now we have so much scientifical, and I said it on purpose because Pastor Mike loves it when I say it. Scientifical. I know it's scientific. Scientifical evidence and proof to demonstrate that evolution is not just that there is, like, it is what it is now. Like evolution is what it is, and those that oppose it and try to argue against it, you've just not done your research. So I'll leave it at that.
Woohoo! Thank you very much. And Ramen. And with that on topic, I will say, Donald, if you want to come back on and have your closer, the opening is now. Feel free to join us. But with that in mind, Peter, we have been midnight ranting on creation versus evolution. Were you impressed with Kent? Did he convince you?
I've never been impressed with Kent. There's one thing you can blame him for me being here, because if I hadn't stumbled on a video of Kent Hovind, I wouldn't be here. That is what literally drove me to make my Twitter account and later my YouTube account. So he's been wrong for years. He won't accept anything. Although there are videos out there. Potholer54 made a video where he just outlines that in all of his videos, and you need to go watch every single one of them in order to figure it out, but he does accept evolution as it has been presented to him. Literally microevolution and macroevolution. So he's good to get viewers, and I think people have been saying you shouldn't debate people like Kent Hovind anymore. I disagree. He has a massive following, and we know for a fact, we've seen it. Paulogia started watching several videos because of the cross-pollination and people trying to debunk what creationists say. So people do make it out of that. So I think we should give these people attention, and we should have more debates. Preferably we should have conversations, because they're a lot better, because then you can rule out the gish gallop that Hovind is so famous for. We should address these people, and we should address them with the correct science and not the incorrect science. Evolution by natural selection is something that has meaning. If we're going to use the word evolution for every single thing we know, yes, there is a colloquial use of the word too. But when you're debating Hovind, you know that Hovind will talk about evolution, as in evolution by natural selection. We're talking about that specific term, and we need to keep his feet to the fire on that specific term. That's my rant.
Woohoo! That was your Midnight Ranting.
You trying to say he's going to try and muddy the waters?
Well, so there is one thing that I might add to that. I'm going to have Arn Ra on our channel just about this specific topic, about the use of the word evolution and how we should and should not use it when we're talking to apologists. We should not give them room to deflect from what the actual issue is.
I'll watch for that. Should be a good video.
Yeah, we know what we're debating. If we take on a creationist, if we're talking about evolution, and especially with Kent Hovind, we need to rein him back in. It doesn't mean evolution of the universe. It doesn't mean planetary evolution. It doesn't mean solar system evolution. It doesn't mean any of those things. If we're talking about evolution, we're talking about one specific thing. We're talking about biology.
And that's funny you say that. So, Donald, I'm gonna add you back in. I'm gonna share your link, but then your actual comment, if you don't mind. We have been Midnight Ranting on creation versus evolution, and I'll even bring it up again but we've been Midnight Ranting on creation versus evolution. What are your thoughts, especially on Kent Hovind? Has he convinced you tonight?
Ready to convert?
Are you ready to convert? Donald? That's okay. He may be coming back for the sound.
We can go back to him if he comes back on it.
That's true. So instead, we'll go to James. James, how was our Midnight Ranting tonight on creation versus evolution? Did you have fun?
James, I think Donald's ready.
Hold on 1 second. I hear the stream, Donald. Careful.
Donald, yeah.
Give that a second. Did you have fun? James,
I was setting up a screen share, just so you know.
Oh, and Donald, as long as it has nothing to do with dogs, I'll share the screen. Cuckoo. No, I like evolution debate. It's
okay,
just,
well in that case I'm leaving because if you don't want me here either, I will just go.
Wait.
Yeah. Because I just put the proof on the screen. If it's not going to be shared, because the truth, if the truth is not welcome here, I will go.
Truth is
I'm not.
Oh my God.
I just want to wrap up the show and be on topic.
Oh dear.
You guys could do a debate on the whole topic. I mean, on dogs.
It's on the screen.
So
Yeah,
if
I appreciate that.
if
I
evolution
appreciate
were
that, and I do
true,
wanna keep it on topic.
then people
hold on.
would know how
If you
to
look at the
mute
screen-
over time.
Under animals,
Hold on.
is going-
Somebody has the stream playing in the background.
Yes,
Hold on.
yes, it's Donald. He has the stream playing. See, it's evidence that evolution doesn't work.
if you look on the screen share under animals, as a definition of dog in the disambiguation on Wikipedia, it specifically says species in the family Canidae called dogs as part of their common name. This is what I was talking about. There is a larger group that has been called dogs throughout the history of the English language. What we now call dogs as domesticated dogs weren't even called dogs when the term dog got into the English language.
I love it. I love it when you try to conflate language with.
I'm not
scientific
conflating
terms.
anything. You're the one who's conflating. I'm pointing out that the word dog has more than one usage. And what if you count all dogs?
And you're talking,
that is
and
not
you
just
keep
a
talking
domesticated
about
dog.
you keep talking about words. I keep talking about cladistics, which are two separate
Right.
things.
Right. And cladistically, dogs are members of the dog family, not the dog species, because there is no dog species. Domesticated dogs are of the wolf species, not the dog species. Canis lupus familiaris is the familiaris subspecies of Canis lupus, gray wolves.
Okay, so what's gonna?
So can we leave that go now, or do you want to really chase me away because the truth isn't welcome?
Okay, we're just going to leave it at that. To be continued for an evolution. We're going to let James do the last topic, and then I'm going to hand it back over to Oz to explain an awesome tournament that's happening this Saturday. I almost gave the wrong. This Saturday, and then I'll give us our outro. So, James, we have been Midnight Ranting on creation versus evolution, which is not a real dichotomy, but whatever. What are your thoughts on the Lord SpongeBob himself?
Well, we knew from the outside he was going to get the break speed off him in this debate, and he certainly did. It did not disappoint in that regard. He just tries to obfuscate and muddy the waters and try to confuse people, but like we said, he really doesn't have anything. He just has a script that he's going off of, but it is fun to watch him squirm as they've tried to hold his feet to the fire and force him to address the things that he doesn't really want to address because he doesn't really have a good answer for him because his God is imaginary. Ramen.
Yeah. Ramen.
And let's give it back to Mr. Oz there.
Give it back to the Oz man. I was to say the Oz man. I don't know if that was a thing. I'll give it to Oz.
What is Oz? Oh, my hat's a little crooked. I got all disheveled during that evolution conversation.
Got beat up a little bit.
I feel like I got punched around, and I wasn't even there. But actually, Amy's going to be helping us Saturday. But Saturday starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We have the first ever Ultimate Debate Championship Tournament. And it's 16 people debating, and there'll be one winner. There'll be one winner at the end of the day. The championship round will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and the winner gets this sexy thing, custom made, like an actual, actual championship belt, and you can see Ultimate Debate Champion with the logo and everything on there. And we were able to raise, and Christians, I know you'll love this. We were able to raise $666 to go to the winner. So whoever wins the debate gets the belt and $666 in cash, straight cash. So check us out, the Atheist Roundtable. All the details are there, and we'd love to have you. It's going to be an awesome all-day event. All day. I say it starts at 3 p.m. But awesome all-day event, and we have tons of great debaters. Check us out, and your your one and only Amy Newman is a part of the
baby,
the modding and judging team. So you definitely want to support that. And then next time, Amy's going to debate. I already told you. Amy's going to debate.
Oh yeah,
Woohoo!
you're going, Amy.
I'm excited. I'm excited both to mod and debate. Woohoo! It's gonna be fun. And
Thanks,
Oz was saying from the beginning, it's not just atheist theist. It is atheist. I've made him be theist. We are rocking heads.
Yeah, it's literally
Some
an
heads.
open. It's an open format. You can get Christian versus Christian, atheist versus atheist, Muslim versus Muslim. Like we're not separating it. Like it's all luck of the draw.
Okay, and so with that,
Is the link to it shared in the chat somewhere?
Amy, got a quick question.
absolutely.
Because I'd like to share it on
sent
Twitter.
I both sent it. I both sent it into chat. I actually highlighted your comment. That was the very first thing I did.
The link to what he was just talking about.
Amy,
I'd like to share that on Twitter.
Oh yes, sure.
Amy, can
Yes,
can you make me full screen for just a minute?
Sure.
On the left, we see the scientific classification for the fox. On the right, we see the scientific
Again, I'm not
classification
disagreeing with any of that. You think I'm disagreeing, and I'm not.
For the dog.
No, that's not for the dog. That's for the
That is
domesticated
for the dog. That I got
that
back
is for
from
the domesticated dog. There is a difference. There is a distinction between dog and domesticated dog. The fact that most people don't use that distinction when they speak and they don't speak clearly doesn't change the fact that there is a distinction.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not disagreeing with anything. I'm not
see,
disagreeing with any of the evidence you're presenting. You're disagreeing with what I
I'll
pointed
wait,
out.
I'll wait until
and I
you're
have no
finished.
idea why.
I'll wait until you're finished, Donald. Just give me a heads up when you're done.
You want to bother to look at the evidence I actually gave instead of pointing out something that I don't disagree with and saying I disagree with it because you're straw manning me.
All right, guys. I think you have both had a good time to get your points made.
You want to continue to straw man me? I'll either continue to object or I'll just go away.
I just wanted to point out that there is no such thing as a scientific classification dog.
Hey guys.
No, it's not a scientific classification. It is an English language classification. It has been known as the dog family in science for as long as it's been known at all.
Yeah, if you want to debate, we can get a debate on. But
Absolutely.
respect Amy and her channel.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
you would.
It was mostly on topic. It was evolution. I'll tell you. At least I wish I could get
for the link to
debate.
that tart thing he was talking about. Is that in the chat somewhere?
So it is tart.live and then
or the
YouTube. Donald, I'm getting ready to put it in the chat for you, buddy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And then I'll highlight that, and then we'll get out. But I'll say, everyone, it's been a fantastic time.
I freaked out on Jer.
How'd you do that?
Oh, but we love Aunt Jer. Hearts. I hope your laundry came out beautifully.
I can line dance as well, but that's a whole different story. Someday someone will find the video on YouTube.
And I'm just waiting. And so I'll let Oz send that
trying to find the Smokey
chat.
Saint video.
And then
good luck.
I just want to say I hope you all had an awesome time on this episode of Midnight Ranting, Creation vs. Evolution, where Professor Dave went toe-to-toe with Lord SpongeBob himself, Ken Hovind. I want to thank James W., Donald Kronos, Peter, Oz, Aunt Jer, Robert, Jim Benton, Spooky Bedhair, Titan Uranus, Stefan, Trenton, Duke Nukem, Civil Fredo, Sabira, Halit Medaic, Tobin, Pavel D, God equals the square root of -1, Jamie Russell, Vesta Frey, Casey Ray, Randy, and anyone I missed.
Jesus is.
Oz, could Oz, could you put that link in the actual chat? Because I'm trying to get it from my phone and I can't access the private chat from there right now. That's what I was waiting for, and I just realized where you put it. Thank
She
you.
got it.
But,
yeah.
if you could.
Boom. So we got
Another
Thanks.
thing, Oz. Oz, do you follow the Buttercream Dream on Twitter?
the Buttercream Dream, baby.
Let's see, channel.
You're
And
muted. You're muted, Oz.
And now
which
it's
one is
pinned.
the event?
Sorry, I'm not sure if I do. I would have to.
Corey,
I'm not sure.
Corey Forrester. Go have a look. He has he's a stand-up comedian, and one of his characters is the Buttercream Dream, who has a belt just like the one that you have there. If you need any inspiration on making a video about the winner, that's where you need to go and check it out.
Okay.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, because I will because so far I definitely plan on doing the rock.
Okay, shared on Twitter. Thank you.
The rock.
Oh, snap.
The rock. Do you see how sexy? Do you see it? The rock.
See, so clean you could eat off it.
Do you see it? Do you see it? See how sexy it is? Like, ooh. I ate my waffles off of it last night.
See, there you go. So clean you can eat off it. And
you
okay,
smell
Donald
Laney's
just
smoking.
twittered it out. And okay, so I just want to remind y'all, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that all button icon so you can be part of our live streams or come join us after the show on Discord for some memeing fun. Finally, if you'd like to help make more awesome content or support the channel, feel free to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman. I'll see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z.
Thanks, Amy.
Hallelujah.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night. See you next time. Come on.